Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to your second home for ACL action here. My name's Hummus. I'm joined by Quacks. We've got Ice Fire Eyed behind the camera as always. And tonight we've got a fun little GSL matchup that Quacks will explain the meaning of. But I can tell you it's between SYN Eternal Season and Weber State University. Quacks, how you doing tonight?
I'm doing really good. Glad to be back on ACL. A huge shout out to Slayer and Shibby for holding down the fort. And you, Hummus, on production yesterday, now having to switch up gears and be a caster. I know we've asked a lot of you this week, but still, you get arguably the more fun role this time around. And I would say you get the more fun teams and matchup this time around. Obviously, Supernova is great and all. Cupid is great and all. But these two teams, they are extremely close in skill level. It's like you said, Hummus, it is Weber State University versus SYN Eternal Season. Both teams sitting at 2-1, and the winner here will be moving on to face Cupid for a potential ability to get on the B team for their division. That'll just mean better seeding. You go up against other B teams, and you overall increase your likelihood of getting to playoffs. C teams, though, will not actually be playing next week for those deciders, so they'll get a week off and maybe see if that could be advantageous to some of them. But still, a decent amount riding on this as we are starting to dawn on that GSL ranking stage here, Hummus, and get more toward thinking about the final GSL.
All right, we are going to cut it over towards draft. But while we do that, I do got to say, Quacks, as you mentioned, I was production last night. So I got to scream all the things that I don't get to say when I'm casting because they're considered rude to the teams. And, professionalism. I do have to say, though, as you mentioned, winner of this goes up against Cupid Esports next Monday. Cupid Esports looked very, very beatable yesterday. Obviously, they did lose 2-0 to Supernova, and Supernova, if you watch that, Slayer and Chibi could not say it enough, Supernova is the top NACL team right now, also making them one of the top ACL teams. But Cupid, there's a lot to learn there as you look towards it. But in order to get there, in order to take down Cupid and be that B team, you have to win here tonight. I'm excited, Quacks. If these two teams are as evenly matched as you say, then I have a good feeling that we're going to go a full 3 here tonight.
Oh,
so I hope everybody watching is clearing their schedules. We're starting off with the band's going to be the Azir off first. And Quacks, I don't know if you watched the stream back from last night. I know you were on other Aegis stuff. Pantheon was making it through. Pantheon was making it through and winning.
I mean, Pantheon did get a slight little, hit to the head in the most recent patch. 25.15, I think, lowered the damage that his Q does. So maybe isn't as effective in the clearing, which is, I think, really, really effective because that is probably his weakest point in the game. I don't think Pantheon is a particularly good first clear champion and definitely does struggle to get through that tempo bush of the jungle that you have to make sure you get that level 6-4 beforehand. But he is still really strong in the dueling. We saw that yesterday, and we might see that again today as, speaking of the bans that you mentioned, Hummus, we are actually going to be seeing one ban loss here for Weaver due to the fact that they are e-subbing in for support. It is going to be Bounty instead of Mystiques. And they've played Bounty before here, Hummus. He actually managed to snag one of their series. I believe it was the one against Supernova. He went Nautilus, Rel, and Blitzcrank. So this guy really likes his hook champions and really likes playing for picks.
I watched part of that series. We haven't talked about it. Weber State, a team very close to my own personal heart. Collegiately, they are in our conference for play. They crush everybody all the time. Glad to see they're finally getting actual competition in ACL. But it's a team that's near and dear to my heart. And so I did watch part of that series. And for going against Supernova, they looked freaking amazing.
They look great, yeah.
I am hoping to see that tonight. Now, it's interesting you mentioned that he's good on hook champions, and that's what he likes. Because if we take a look at those first 3 bans for SYN Eternal Season, Vi, J4, and Azir, not a support or hook champion among them, is going to give Weber State the full board of ADC support combos if that's what they want to start with on those red 1-2 picks.
And I'm kind of curious to see how Bounty's playstyle of playing those pick champions goes up against All Calamity's pool, which is very much in sync for being those disengagers. Things like the Alistar, things like the Braum, even things like the Ornn have made it onto the table for him. So he really likes peeling off for his AD carry. Daption has shown that he's really capable on those champions where if you just create space for them, they can deal the damage necessary to carry a fight. And speaking of carrying a fight and possibly carrying a game, we have SYN Eternal Season, no surprise, going to be locking in that Pantheon. Weaver, though, probably going to respond with a fighter in the jungle themselves. Jarvan and Vi, like you said, banned away, but Xin Zhao still very on the table. Things such as the Bel'Veth are on the table. We have known you to be this very big X factor here in the ACL, capable of playing some more carry-oriented picks and being very, privy to fighting, particularly with Goku.
And that first pick is not going to be a carry jungle. It's not going to be a jungle at all. If you missed, I believe last night was the first night that Yunara was able for selection in the ACL. I can't remember if it was in week 1 or not. We didn't see it on the Salt Mine in week 1. Week 2, we saw it last night. It hit hard. Are seeing it here now picked up by Senda on that Weber State roster. And the thing with Yunara is it feels different, Quacks. A lot of the time when we get these brand new champions in League, they're overtuned. They have these crazy win rates, and they're just kind of curb stomping everybody. Yunara in competitive play, I think Slayer mentioned it last night, is only at like a 28% win rate. It's not great.
Yunara's not doing amazing in competitive play, but still I think has a ton of upswing and upside if you're capable of dashing around the fights. I think that Yunara has basically, if I had to describe her in one phrase, it would be kind of a jack of all trades, master of none. You've got a good amount of mobility, you've got a good amount of utility, you've got a good amount of wave clear. Early game, mid game, and late game are all pretty decent for Yunara. She's well-rounded, but she doesn't excel in any one department, and I think that Weber State, you know, Sendai has actually played Yunara twice, so I think it was available potentially in week 1. He's used to playing this character. I think is just looking to see if he can unlock the intricacies of this pick. And if he can, I'm really interested to actually see how that shapes up here for this game. But moving on to the next pick, it is going to be Weber finally staying up that jungler for U13. It will be the Wukong. So good pick into the Pantheon, can interrupt a lot of his engages with his Cyclone and can be the engage tool with the same ability, but still has to be linked up with a strong mid laner. This is something that Weber have really excelled at, making sure that you and Goku are constantly playing around one another and capable of moving as a duo, as that confluence that pushes them to those wins.
And if we're talking about powerful mid laners to go with your jungler, I'm going to direct everybody's attention back over to the SYN side of the draft. It's what I coined, I believe I was calling it the key to the West success in MSI. Because if you watched MSI, the games that the West were consistently winning, it was a Pantheon Talia combo. You've got, between both the Grand Starfall and the Weaver's Wall, you've got pretty much double globals. They're not full globals, but bear with me here, Quacks. And yes, we talk about the lane-to-lane chips. We talk about jungle, the Wukong has to match the Pantheon. The thing is that not only does the Wukong have to match the Pantheon, so too does top and mid. And when you have those doubles, well, it's going to get answered by the Galio. So we're just going to see all the global ultimates. And Quacks, this makes me so excited for those team fights that we know are going to be coming.
Yeah, team fights are going to be really fun, and I'm also really going to be looking at who will be able to pull the trigger first in a lot of these engages. See, SYN are very clearly setting up for some type of a dive comp with that Kai'Sa being locked in. You have to believe that something like a Rel is going to be in the minds of Weaver State to likely ban and take off the board. Leona as well, I think, is another really good option to take away. I expect we're probably just going to be seeing supports be off the table here, but Weaver are going to switch it up a bit and, you know, eliminate some of those strong AP threats in the top lane. Gwen going to be the first one. I wonder if maybe that'll be followed up by something like a Rumble. But then again, you have Galio, you have the potential to flex it. So maybe not a Rumble. You could put that in top lane, and that is the proverbial pick for that champion. So I think SYN probably not going to pick that one. Weaver, though, yeah, they're just you're gonna switch over, ban away that support, and we're firing away through these bans immediately, Hummus. Again, though, SYN probably just looking to get an engaged support.
Most likely. What I love about the fact that we're firing through bans is it means that these teams came prepared. They knew what they wanted their bans to be, and we see it, generally speaking, slow down in that second phase. It's like, well, now you've got 6 champions, and now you're slimming down roles. If you're still firing, then that means that you were prepared. You were prepared for what your opponent was going to do, more or less. You knew what was coming. And as we see the Rakan taken off the board, that means that of our final 4 bans, 3 of them are supports. And then there's Gwen. Gwen doesn't count as a support. But that means that these support pools, they're going to be shrunk. But it's interesting because we talked about the hook-type engaged champions, like the Leona that just came out. And then also those disengaged champions. Alistar banned away, but we had 2 enchanters. So those champ pools for these guys are wide open.
I do wonder if maybe a Braum angle is available for SYN. It's not the best in lane with Kai'Sa, but it does provide a decent amount of disengage. I think pairing that up with the Pantheon would be really valuable, but they're actually going to just slam the Ornn here. Again, I have to remind everybody, All Calamity has played Ornn in the past. This is possibly a flex here for SYN Eternal Season. It's all dependent on what they're going to slam in this next 5th pick. I think it's probably going to be support. I think this is a really decent pairing. It's actually going to be top lane. They're just going to straight up blind it. So the Braum is there, as we predicted, Hummus, but still probably not the best pairing and doesn't necessarily, I would say, function nearly as well as some other supports when it comes to engaging. Is more so there to peel off of any backline threats and play more of as a defensive role in the laning phase so that Kai'Sa can sort of thrive around that mid to late game. Weaver, though, Now the question kind of becomes, what are you going to go in top lane? And they're going to go the Alloy Special, Hummus.
Well, we can kind of just ignore top lane for the first 20 minutes of this game for the most part. Ornn Mundo, we're going to be looking towards that late game for them. The Masterwork items, the part where Mundo becomes kind of just unkillable. And these are great facilitators for their teams in those mid to late game team fights as we have tanks. And between the Ornn, the Mundo, and then these tankier supports, we're going to have no shortage of a front line for these teams, especially when you consider the Galio that can build slightly tankier. The question is there enough damage to make it through those front lines? Because Ornn and Mundo do a surprising amount of damage for being those full tanks once they hit those 3 items.
They absolutely do, and I think one of the big proponents for Mundo doing a lot of damage, obviously he has the early game, but I would say, mid to late game, he still is capable of dealing a ton of damage. And you were kind of saying how, we're going to be ignoring top lane for the first 20 minutes. Realistically, Batal wants that for Weber State. He wants to be able to stack up those heart steals and make sure that when he leaves the bird's nest, proverbially, of top lane and starts grouping up with the rest of Weber, he's extremely strong, not only in the tank department, but is able to get onto that backline, be an actual threat that SYN have to turn their attention onto, and maybe this gives Yunara an opening to wreak havoc in the team fights.
We will see. Our production has just told us that we have game ready, so we're going to slide away from our wonderful faces and onto the Rift for game number 1 of SYN Eternal Season versus Weber State University. And all of that to say that there's nothing that's going to happen for the most part in the first minute and a half of this game. We are just going to see the 5-point stacks come out. However, that is a cute Braum with a sled being pulled by Poros, and I think that in and of itself is worth noting.
It is also worth noting, Calamity taking the Summoner's Spellbook. The strategy is still really viable for supports, but it's interesting because Bounty opted to actually go for the Aftershock, which is telling me that we're not likely going to be seeing a ton of roaming from this Leona, and it's kind of what you said, Hummus, where action is probably not going to befell the Rift until Weber State really want to pull the trigger. I expect them to play as defensively as possible until they can get those massive breakpoints. Wukong as well is a champion that I feel like not a lot of people remember isn't great in the early game. He has dueling power and dueling potential and is strong in the extended team fights and just extended skirmishes, but isn't really a character that is 100% great without that Cyclone acting as damage and also acting as the CD refresher for his Q. So all of Weber State really just want to sit back, munch on some Cheerios, and wait until 20 minutes, like we've been saying.
And I think the real question now is, with Daption on the Kaisa, with Munchie and Season of Leaves having some of those more globals, and they can get going a little bit earlier, around that level 6 mark, can Weber State make it to the 20-minute mark without falling so far behind that they have an insurmountable cliff to climb? That'll get determined, of course, in lane. And, I mean, Calamity is... This guy's a great support, and he's showing why the zoning is already taking effect a little bit in that bot side. And we'll see if that helps Daption get as far ahead as he needs to in this lane.
Yeah, Daption's really going to be looked at as that golden goose for SYN Eternal Season. Obviously, you do have some of those other threats in the comp, such as the Pantheon, such as the Talia, but those are probably not going to be played around nearly as much as the bot lane. Pantheon as well does eventually fall off. Talia scales a little bit better, but will definitely act as more of that space maker for Daption. So it really starts in the early game, seeing if they can just get these very incremental leads like CS in bot and just denying Sendy and Bounty the opportunity to walk up without a care in the world.
So far in those incremental leads, we're not seeing any open up anywhere, but the top side, it's a whole 6 CS quacks. Now it's down to 4. It was an earlier level from top lane on that Ornn, so he's a little bit ahead in the XP department. Maybe we see something fancy happen around grubs. Maybe we see lane swaps. But if we're talking those super incremental advantages, there is one in the top side in favor of SYN.
Ooh, hang on, Bounty.
Yeah, the stun does land Zenith Blade. And yeah, okay. Daption is half health and is eating a lot of minion shots, which at level 3 actually matters. Now would be a great time potentially to see a gank come through, try and get some of those summoner spells out. But in fact, it's going to be you looking towards the top side of the map, towards top lane. I believe cleared out some vision and is going to control. Dap can flash, and there's a ghost out. Calamity pressing forward with the heal. The stun does land onto Bounty, but the ignite down. That's a lot of damage. And SYN was not on the winning side of that trade.
I like the discipline there from the Weber State bot lane. They look for an aggressive play, but they know when to back off. They understand that Munchie didn't show on the top side when you was clearing that crab. So they know Panth is on that bot side, is available to look for a gank as the crab did just spawn. So they back away. They make sure Munchie can't really run interference as the jungler. And they live to fight another day. Still, though, both summoners burned off of Daption means that Sendy, at the very least, can play the lane very safely and doesn't have a ton of kill threat to worry about from the side of SYN.
Absolutely. First dragon spawning in 30 seconds. Both Goku and Season of Leaves have done their recall teleport shenanigans. Means that we do have some item components coming out. Both of our ADCs now on culls after their recalls. And the junglers are on opposite sides of the map. So if there is dragon spawn priority, it is not for SYN.
Whoa.
Instead, Munchie wants Vital. The engage from top lane. I'm not sure they need Munchie. The flash engage. It's first blood for Munchie. So much for top lane being quiet until 20 minutes.
I guess not, as not only is top lane going to be able to help secure that kill for Munchie, he'll be able to crash this wave. Vital will be forced to teleport. And the Mundo is decently behind in CS, so it's really not good for the top laner of Weber State early on in this game. You can see, though, it's not going to come without its responses from Weber. Yu is just going to take away those Raptors and maybe look to aggress onto the Pantheon, who did burn that summoner spell.
Absolutely. Top lane is out of mana. That's about the only time an Ornn needs to recall, running low on health, but Tao with those cleavers. The flash forward engage. Yu is here to support. Season Leaves flashing under tower. It is not enough. Yu answers with a kill of his own in mid lane.
And Munchie's just a little too late. Doesn't spot out Yu, looking to aggress onto his mid laner. Munchie's going to try and turn the tables, though. Bounty has no flash, but Sendy has both summoners up.
Yeah, the engaged Zenith Blade Bounty. Calamity says, stand behind me. We're going to kill this support. The prayer beads come out, but it is not enough. Munchie finds Bounty. Sendy flashing forward will find Daption's ADC for support, but Sendy, there is no flash. There is only a cleanse. It does not matter. Munchie finds his third of the game.
I mean, Sendy flashes in to get a kill, and sure, you accomplish your mission, but you lose a bunch of tempo and a bunch of gold now, as that wave is going to crash. You're going to miss most of those minions by the time you get back to lane as this Yanara. And now you're staring down the tip of a spear that is the 3-0 Pantheon. Munchie has been proactive in these first 6.5 minutes, and it is paying off.
It is, in addition, those 3 kills also means that SYN has found themselves the feat of warfare, one step towards the feat of strength. We've got a while to go before we start seeing those 3 jungle objectives fall in the towers. But that is something to keep in the back of our mind, because like we said, Weber State, they need to not lose huge early before they scale up late. Dragon has been forgotten about. Instead, we're going to be fighting over a blue buff, Quacks.
Yeah, you know, it's the small things like this. A Season of Leaves gets taunted up.
Yeah, Zenith Blade right on the Blast Cone, but can't find it. Bounty gets the kill, and now the Blast Cone used aggressively. The Cyclone comes out. The hero's entrance coming in, and Vital in support. The knockups are good. Top lane will fall, and it's all treadles forward as Weber State finds out Calamity with Vital getting his first kill.
Really good aggression coming out there by Weber State University. And they managed to layer their CC onto Season of Leaves, who does not have flash. He goes down. The Talia 0-2 at this point in the game. So the mid laner for SYN not having the greatest of times so far. Like you said, the main person reaping those rewards is U13 on the Wukong. Now 2-0-2, getting closer and closer to that Triforce. Should be able to get it after just a couple of minutes. And based off of how many summoners are burned on the SYN season, particularly no flashes on the mid-jungle duo that have been the main power forces of this proactivity that we've seen from them, I dare say they are not looking to go for anything too highly contested by Weber State, and that should give U13 the opportunity to get this gold for free and get that item breakpoint.
Absolutely should. Is worth noting at 8.5 minutes, both Dragon and Grubs are still up. And while Yu is focusing on a second clear, if we pan up towards the top side of the map, Munchie and top lane are working on those Grubs. They may have lost the fight, but they're determined to not lose the objective. And honestly, Grubs are helpful, sure, but Grubs are a whole lot more helpful when they're not in the hands of Batao's Mundo.
And it's not really, I feel like SYN's comp is particularly amazing at sieging. Obviously, you do have the Ornn, but this feels like more of a denial to make sure that Batao won't be able to get up to his push shenanigans on the Mundo. As Dragon is being started, but it's 4v4.
Bounty flashing forward, and now the Grand Starfall coming in right into the taunt. It is beautiful. Bounty holding backline at bay. Munchie's shield comes out, pressing forward. Cindy falling low. Bounty falling low. Daption finds the first kill, and now the flash is coming out of the second for Daption. Running away now, U13. The Cyclone will connect as Yu goes on a killing spree, but is hunted down. There is no support from Goku. There is only death. Now Goku on the run into 3. The re-engage will not find it. Top lane finding plates, and SYN Eternal Season finding kills.
Yeah, SYN Eternal Season managed to turn that play around. They get Weber State off of the Dragon, so they're not able to trade those objectives. And most importantly, they also give Daption a bunch of gold. Sure, the Kaisa goes down in the end, but Weber now have to deal with a bot lane win con being created on top of that Pantheon, who now has a Sundered Sky. So it's difficult for Weber in a lot of these fights as they don't really have a second threat of their own. A lot of that gold is simply on you, who won't be able to deal with all of these threats unless Weber can get someone else ahead.
Absolutely. The gold lead in and of itself is only about 500 in favor of SYN Eternal Season. Obviously, the Grubs adding a little Bart into that. First Dragon has been completely deprioritized. Despite that fight in bot lane, there is nobody there to take it. There is only Batao stunned up under tower. Ornhorn looking to continue at top lane, pressing forward. Top lane, not quite maximum dose.
No mana.
Batao is living. Ooh.
I mean, top lane didn't have any mana to finish the job. One more Bellows Breath and one more bonk to the forehead on that Mundo would give him more than a little bit of a concussion. A Season of Leaves might get a little bit more of a concussion.
Taunt lands flashing under tower. It's like deja vu. You going under tower. You finding again, flashing away. Danger that Munchie cannot stun him up. Daption and Al Calamity coming around here in support, but everybody back under tower. And everybody can breathe for a split second. You pressing forward. The Solar Flare lands on a Daption, gets caught out. Half health already. Sendy coming in. Glacial Fisher. You finds Daption. Was a breath, but not when you're in that side of the river. The taunt continues as Munchie starts falling low. You pressing forward. Teleport coming in to help out, but it is not enough. Munchie will get caught up in the Cyclone as Sendy gets a kill. Not Season of Leaves back from the grave. Trying to turn something around. Bounty at about half health. Goku tanky enough to let them all walk away and on to first Dragon.
And they peel off that fight. They go onto the bot side objective. Really good re-engage there from you, wanting to continue pressing forward. They managed to find one more. Crucially, though, it's more gold onto the Yunar. We talk about needing that second win condition for Weber State, and they have officially begun to unlock that with this new champion pick. He'll recall, he'll get that Kraken Slayer, match Daption in items for the time being. So both AD carries very healthy in this game, and both teams likely going to try and press that win condition forward as this game goes on. Herald not going to be up for a decent amount of time means that there really is no reason to be visiting anyone other than those AD carries.
Absolutely not. Daption on the run. Bounty has the Solar Flare out is on cooldown. The stun Zenith Blade. Daption stunned up a second time, and that health bar just got deleted. One more auto will do it. The hail coming in from Al Calamity. That is what you call a support.
I was about to say, for the second time in a row, Bounty just has Daption's number, and Daption's main number that he has to call is 9101. Get the police off this man for stalking. But he manages to live another day as Batao just destroys that turret. He gets not one, but two plates. So this Mundo, we see the lane swap coming through. You kind of alluded to this earlier, Hummus, but now it is happening. I am interested, though, on the timing because, like we said, no objective has really made its way onto the map for the next couple of minutes. So realistically, all this does is give you mid push to try and look for aggressive angles into the enemy jungle.
Right, and I mean, Bounty is in the mid lane, but Season of Leaves is standing quite strong into Sendy right now. The wave kind of getting held in the middle. It's in no way, shape, or form bad. Keep an eye on you. Heading over that wall for the third time, looking for Season of Leaves under tower, but it's done. Zenith Blade Cyclone, you taking all the tower shots, will fall. It's a 1-for-1 as Munchie comes in. We pan down to the bot lane where Daption is trying to take on Batao. Not working great, but it's not working terribly.
Yeah, it's a 1-for-1 in the mid lane there. Yu has been so proactive on this Wukong, but that time it is to his own detriment as he loses his life. The person that has been losing their life basically all game, though, Hummus, has been Season of Leaves on this Talia. No really opportunity to go past the median line of that mid lane. Use that ultimate in tandem with the Grand Starfall. This is a combination that we talked about in draft as being so important for this mid-jungle duo to unlock. And so far, Weber State have been doing an amazing job at just jailing Season of Leaves in this mid lane under his own turret.
Absolutely. The teleport being used by top lane into the bottom lane. Just to make my job a little more confusing. We have next Dragon up in 2 minutes. We have Rift Herald up in 15 seconds. And yet all the action is towards this bot side river here. Rift Herald would be huge in finding that first turret. If first turret was grabbed by SYN Eternal Season, it would give them the full feats of strength. We're still waiting for some of those neutral objectives to come through. But, you know, that would go a long way in extending this timer they have towards that late game, towards when Weber State really outscales.
And now that we've kind of hit the point where, you know, turret plates have fallen, this is where a lot of people classify the mid game to be starting. I feel like it's going to be a little bit more difficult for Munchie to be as relevant in fights as he was, you know, pre-14 minutes. The Pantheon is one of those champions that I think has a massive upswing in the early game, is capable of dueling just about anyone, but then falls off a cliff mid. It sort of climbs back up onto it toward that late game when all of his abilities are on like a 1-second cooldown. So right now, Pantheon is arguably at his weakest, but they're going to be looking for a fight.
All right, Solar Flare and the Hero's Entrance and the Glacial Fissure, all the ultimates are used. Daption flashing and burning away, but Cyclone means that Al Calamity is going to get stuck in the middle of everything. Munchie pressing forward, you at about half health. Going to recharge onto those Raptors, but Daption getting caught out. Sendy goes on a killing spree, is Transcendent and is pressing forward to their death. Munchie with the stun, the taunt coming out from Goku means that Season of Leaves will fall. It's a 3-for-2 so far, and they're not done yet. Munchie on the run, double kill for you, and Goku survives.
And it's Munchie not able to get that spear shot as here comes the Ornhorn.
It is an Ornhorn on the bot side towards this tower, but Tao trying desperately to get it, but with the airborne, turret will fall. The level, now the maximum dosage gets popped, and top lane in trouble in the bot lane. But Tao gonna live and get first turret there.
Tao just doing classic old, you know, What? Oh no, he got it! He smited it away! Oh, Calamity! What did you do?
Summoner Spellbook! I know we're only like 17 minutes in, Quack, but Al Calamity's used to Summoner Spells. Clutch heal in the bot lane, the clutch smite off the Summoner Spellbook there. I mean, we were talking about Rift Heralds, man, smited it, got it, and player of the game, that's all I'm gonna say. Support player of the game. This man is carrying the entire team right now.
I mean, both Bounty and Al Calamity have been clutching up in their respective, you know, roles on the team. Al Calamity has acted as, you know, a safeguard for Daption to be able to play more aggressively. He's been doing that. He's been saving his AD carry on many such occasions. And Bounty as well has basically been trying to hook on to Daption. So both understanding their role, both accomplishing it. And it's not a lot of times where we get to really see the dichotomy between two supports, often not the, you know, most important role as Bounty. Oh no.
You glazed him too hard, Quacks. He got caught out in a bush. Munchie picking up the kill. Rift Herald getting dropped means that the tier 1 bot turret will fall. Batao in top lane going at it in the top lane, but the Rift Herald looking to get another charge in onto this tier 2. Will pull it off, get it down to about half health there. Meanwhile, it's top lane. It's a noodle fight.
This is so difficult for Weaver State to play now. They really wanted to use that Herald into the mid lane to take all those tier 1 turrets, extend that vision line further ahead of these dragons. But they're really not going to be able to do that for now. They don't have the greatest of siege. The best they can do is try and get Batao off of a side lane and pushing into the mid lane. But so far, there hasn't really been an angle for him to actually group up with his team. The other alternative is, trying to get you to hit those turrets. But that is also proven to be quite difficult, as now you maybe doesn't realize the danger he's in.
Maybe not using the clone to get away. The teleport is coming in from Goku. The press forward, Calamity with a glacial fish in the middle of everything is staying alive for so long. The toss up, teleport coming in. You, the first one to fall. It's a shutdown for Dapton. Now Killer Instincting forward will find Bounty as well. The Oran Horn comes out, it knocks up 2. And Sendy just melts Goku tank, who he will fall as well as Season of Leaves finds their second kill. And just like that, it is 4 for SYN.
And Batao is the lone survivor, forced to watch his team wither away in the team fight. And SYN Eternal Season, beautiful disengage to start out the fight. They initially get away from the giant Galio taunt. Nobody gets hit by that. And then the instant top lane joins the fight. The minute the Ornn is right there, ready to go, they turn it. It is a beautiful ult from Daption. The Killer Instinct to the side allows him to free hit. And Weaver all fall down. They thought they had the fight. They thought they had the initial turn, but they, in fact, did not.
I will say, though, despite how poorly that just went, they are only down about 1.2 thousand gold at 20 minutes. They're only down a kill. Is not the end of the world. Most of that gold difference, Munchie 7, 2, and 7, like 2 items, is being matched by you. For a comp that we highlighted needed to get to 20 minutes, needed to get online, they're at 20 minutes, and they might have done a good enough job at not falling too far behind as we see Season of Leaves just melting to Batao. Batao popping the maximum dosage to go under turret, and there is nothing that Talia can do except die.
See, Munchie is going to try and trade it 1-for-1, but I think he is, maybe having a bit of an epiphany now as that Otacon has been started. He does have the Grand Starfall. Weaver are just trying to bait SYN to give up so much territory on that top side of the map. You can see this Mundo perfectly happy just splitting. Weaver, I think, playing the macro really, really beautifully, kind of forcing the one member who can contest them to deal with another threat.
Absolutely, that ward is down. Calamity on exhaust right
down
now.
Daption.
Spellbook. The engage comes through. The Oran Horn on the backside. Daption.
They can't get Daption.
Firing you. Daption flashing over the wall. Daption will live. Calamity will fall. And now Otacon still free firing about half health. That's why it needs to pull back, but so too does Weaver. May have taken 2 summoners, but Daption is still alive.
Daption manages to live in that team fight. Gets CC for so long, but lives with just a sliver of HP. And the hopes for SYN on that Otacon will stay alive with him. A 1-for-1 on that bot side. But crucially, Weber State University slowly but surely chipping away at those structures with this Mundo. Batao has just been playing the split push style. And SYN, they have been struggling to actually deal with it. And they're going to keep struggling now that this Otacon is up. But it's no TP for Batao, so I think the pressure likely not going to be nearly as heavy until that's back up.
Absolutely not. Goku running away. The Weaver's Wall is going to come out. Season Leaves on the wrong side of the Weaver's Wall from the rest of their team, though. Batao going to take him down to half health. And now the engage onto you, using the clone to get on out. It's a split fight, but they're so tanky, and there's not enough damage to even melt through some of these top laners right now.
And neither team wanting to be the first to pull the trigger, mainly because those primary engage tools are not up. The hero's entrance is still on cooldown for Goku. U13 just got his Cyclone. The top lane just got his Oran Horn, so it's going to be on one of these 3 to likely start up the exchange, start up the fight. The Dragon is up. This would be the second for both teams. Nothing too consequential, nothing that you can't give up. And I think Weaver likely would be wise to just call it a day.
And by the time you finish making your point, Quacks, the Dragon is down. Bounty Is there his flash itself? Not the Hex Flash is back up. But Tao making good use of his free time. Gonna fell the final tier 1 turret left standing for SYN.
Yep.
Otacon is still on the board. That is something
Otacon.
that we should keep our eye on. But also Baron in like 2 minutes.
Baron is there. Otacon certainly going to help secure that top side, give one team a major influx of power. But Tao is completely split from the rest of his team. He can't enter this river. And so SYN have the opportunity to look for it.
Yeah, Solar Flare Glacial Fissure comes out. The Oran Horn gets whiffed on. Goku having to flash away. His half health Cyclone. Calamity gets back to the rest of his team.
Otacon damage.
And we're back at 5v5. Otacon damage. Otacon shred. Otacon falling at 3,000. Could we see the flip, the teleport?
It's an Otacon fight! Mundo got it!
Ow! And now the engage, the Killer Instinct comes out. Otacon for what cost? The rest of the team is falling to the grand entrance.
Look at Sendy!
Goku.
Look at Sendy!
That's what they need to turn. Sendy left free, firing on the other side of the Weaver's wall. It is a triple for Sendy. It is the ace for Weaver Space University. And it is Batao with a clutch Otacon take.
Who the hell are the junglers in this game? Hummus, the guys that have Smite? Who cares? It's all Calamity and Batao respectively acting as the junglers in this game. And it is Sendy acting as the savior for Weber State University. Like you said, allowed to free hit. And now 7, 4, and 8 on that third item. Weber State's AD carry is officially unlocked and unleashed.
And, you know, we didn't really talk about Yunara's scaling into late game. We mentioned kind of that she's there, but we were focusing on other champions like the Mundo. Yunara comes online when she hits 3 items. I watched it happen live last night. My jaw literally dropping because I wasn't on camera and nobody could see it. And that's where we're at right now. Sendy, full 3 items, including that Infinity Edge. And if you let him free fire, he hits like a dump truck.
He absolutely does, but still, Weaver are going to try. Daption has to ghost.
Solar Flare's gonna go wide. Daption is pressing forward, getting some good chunks down on Batao, but Batao still only half health. Ultimate not up yet, so there is no super healing. There's just normal Mundo healing.
They have control of the mid wave. They should be able to just siege this mid lane turret. If nothing else, they could turn this in to more pressure on the top side. Yu is going to take that Herald before they can get their hands on it. Now that we have the upgraded Herald, or now that we have the upgraded Crab, it is way more valuable to have. Batao close to that maximum dosage.
Forward, we get stunned up. There is no Cyclone. There is only top lane. Now the shield comes out. Oranhorn will not get missed this time. It's a shutdown for Dapton now. Continue to press forward, bounding in the middle of everything. Sendy and Goku on the run. And that's why Enda found what they needed to claim purple.
And, I mean, Season of Leaves has had such a rough game on this Talia, but he manages to save the beautiful flank that U13... He saves his team from the beautiful flank that U13 was looking to put onto SYN Eternal Season, throws down those Legos, denies that Wukong Cyclone into the team fight. They immediately take down Yu, and the fight falls flat. Weber State now, even though they won that fight at Otacon, they are back to even with that Baron in SYN Eternal Season's inventory.
Absolutely, and more importantly than that, all 5 members wearing purple, so they can push these lanes however they want to. 1-3-1 for good old classic Nayram. They have the power and they have the oomph. The question is not, will they get anything? It is how much will they get? And yet, Quacks, they are actually down about 600 gold right now. Like, when you said these two teams are evenly matched in skill, as back and forth as this game has felt, that is where the gold lead is. And that's before you count Otacon and Masterwork items that are pretty much balancing themselves out. This is coming down to each team fight in each angle. And more importantly, the ability to get onto Dapton and Sendy respectively.
Yeah, those flanks are really starting to matter, as we saw you look for one of those in the most recent team fight. Wasn't able to get it. SYN, they don't nearly have as easy of a time looking for those snap engages. It really feels like they have to use some of that poke from Munchie, Season of Leaves, and Daption, try and whittle down Weber State before they actually go in for the kill. And they're not going to have that time. They're not going to have that establishment now. The Dragon coming up in just a couple of seconds, and you could see Weber State are first to the objective.
It would be soul point for SYN if they could get it. Our Calamity spellbooked into Smite. We could see the fabled second support
Goku.
skill. We will see the Oranhorn, Dapton Killer instincting forward. Safe in the middle of everything, backing out and free firing. Bounty half health coming in. You with Cyclone in the middle of everything. Dapton is falling low, but it is season falling first. And Batau is huge. It's a triple kill for Batau. Sendy is there. Munchie will fall. It is a quadra kill for the top laner, and they don't care about Dragon. They want the base.
And push, push, push all you want. At the end of the day, Batau is just a good team fighter as he is. Split pusher. This Mundo goes in with a quadra. Adaption with no flash. Has nowhere to run. SYN Eternal Season. The day is dawning here for game number 1 as Weber State crack open the base and will crack the Nexus.
And Quacks, you might even say that Batau went where he pleased in that last team fight. We highlighted the power of Amundo, and I said he was unkillable, and I said he did a lot of damage. And hey, guess what? He was unkillable and did a lot of damage.
534 stacks on that Heartsteel. My God. You know, this was just a ticking time bomb for the side of Weber State. We mentioned how when you play champions into Mundo that aren't necessarily able to fight him early, he'll just stack up on Heartsteels. He was splitting all game, not only, you know, taking members of SYN off the board to deal with him, but he was also stacking up that item, becoming stronger as the game went on, and it all came to a head in that last team fight. A clean ace there for Weber. And a beautiful game one from them. A couple of hiccups in the mid game, but still, these guys are looking to be one of the top teams for that final GSL.
And I think all credit goes to Weber. They played their game plan perfectly, Quacks. We were talking about how they drafted for the late game and those team fights. And way too often, I see teams draft for the late game and then try and challenge in that early mid game and fall so far behind they can't catch up. Weber took what they could. They didn't over push. And when they knew they could win, they did. But also, the flip side of that is SYN Eternal Season, they didn't play poorly. In no way was this a blowout. In no way did they humiliate themselves. I think these teams might be quite as close as you said they were, Quacks.
Yeah, I could definitely see this series going to game number 3, and I also just kind of felt like it was an unfortunate game for Daption. Basically using that flash off of cooldown, he was able to make so many pop-off plays when the mobility of his kit allowed him to do that, when he actually had those summoner spells available for use in those skirmishes. But whenever he didn't, it really just kind of felt like Bounty had his number. At some point, Batau was able to just kind of run through everybody in order to get onto that back line. It was a pretty rough game for him, but he showed that he is more than capable of carrying his team when he has the space to make. And I do think that in game number 2, we are going to be seeing SYN Eternal Season double down on that bot lane, maybe give a better matchup over to Season of Leaves, give him a bit of an easier time. And game number 3 is honestly inevitable, in my opinion, Hummus.
Well, we'll see. If there's one thing I learned from yesterday, it's that caster curses are real. So I will not make any. That way I can blame Quacks if everything goes wrong. Can also guarantee that because we are in full Fearless, we will not see the fabled Al Calamity Ornn. We won't see any of those champions again. When we come back, we will have draft for game number 2. It'll be brand new. And if game 2 goes anything like how game 1 went, it's going to be another nail biter. So don't go anywhere. We will be right back. Welcome back to draft of game number 2 between Weber State University and SYN Eternal Season. The sides may have swapped, but your casters didn't. I am still Hummus. I am still joined by Quacks. Fearless bands are above our heads. That direction. And yep, SYN decided the blue one didn't work, so maybe red 5 would.
Yep, they're going to be going onto the red side this time around. Weber still missing a ban, so that might impact them here for game number 2, as we are, like you said, Hummus, whittling down in the champion department. So those 10 characters not going to be available for game number 2. And before we went to a break, Hummus, we sort of said that, it was really down to the wire for these teams, but Weber just kind of seemed to have a game plan and execute it slightly better. SYN Eternal Season, they put their Pantheon in a really good spot, but eventually he got outscaled. Dapshim wasn't really able to have a free game once the Kaisa was the main focus of this team. And so I just overall feel like that bridge that Pantheon was supposed to provide for the rest of his team to sort of take over as those main damage dealers wasn't necessarily as sturdily built as they should have aimed for. So for game number 2, I'm just looking to see, more attention paid toward bot lane. Give Dapshin a little bit more peel on that AD carrier. Give him someone that's a little bit more mobile. Hell, that works too, or has a little bit more defense, like something like a Sivir. Or you could just straight up give maybe the jungler of SYN Eternal Season. You could give Munchie some more support beams that he could potentially assist his AD carry in building that bridge for. But I am really interested to see what Weber are going to be doing on blue side. They have first pick available, so all eyes are on that B1.
Before we get to B1, though, we have to get through the bans. As mentioned, Weber State University, due to having the E-sub bounty in that support lane, down a ban. For them, their bans will stay the same. Lux and Mel focusing on Season of Leaves. And then for SYN Eternal Season, the Azir is the same. I believe, Quacks, the Orianna is new from last game.
I think the Orianna, I think you might be right. This is also one of Goku's best champions. Yeah, you're right, because it was a Jarvan last time. So maybe SYN are comfortable giving that Jarvan over to Weber State. Maybe they have something in their back pocket capable of countering it, or maybe they themselves want to try and go that pick. Nonetheless, though, they are putting a little bit more attention onto Goku. Orianna and Talia and Azir, I would say, are his 3 best champions. He has definitely carved out a name for himself playing those long-range mages, those sort of control mages that we all love to see. And Weber State are going to open up with a flex pick here, Hummus. Ziggs mid has kind of seen a resurgence, particularly in the LPL. So I am interested to see if we are going to, throw Goku the bombs in game number 2, or if we're just going to be seeing the tried and true Ziggs bot lane that has been meta for so long.
Well, I heard somebody just made their LPL English debut, I believe, because I do follow you on Twitter. So, I mean, all I'm going to say is if we do see the Ziggs mid lane, I'm going to ask you all about how LPL does it, because as we all know, when the Koreans do it, it should be done. However, back in North America Tier 2, Varus picked up. It's a classic. You see it every series. It's just kind of solid. Let's talk supports. Leona, Braum off the table completely because of Fearless. Everything else wide open. We didn't ban any supports. Yeah. What is your dream, Quacks, to see with this Varus? And if you said Hui, you were wrong, because, yeah.
I mean, I can tell you who I want to see a dream in for this Ziggs. It is the Rel. I feel like the Magnet Storm plus the Mega Inferno Bomb is a dream come true, especially when SYN Eternal Season are rocking 2 immobile E-Boys on the other side. It's just too easy, I think, to try and punish that immobility. We mentioned how difficult it was for Dapshin to really operate in those skirmishes, in those late-game teamfights when he didn't have Flash available, because Weaver could basically just ignore all of that front line as the game went on. And we were kind of right here, Hummus. We were anticipating maybe a Jarvan to come in through for U13, and he is, in fact, going to slam that one. I would imagine third pick will be a mid laner. And we'll see the remaining we'll see the last 2 picks decide where the Ziggs goes, and we'll see the support.
I think with that Ari pickup, it's pretty sold that the Ziggs is going to be going ADC. Yep. And I do question, because of the Hui pickup on R2, Hui counters Ziggs in mid lane, I believe. Does Ari then counter Hui? Did SYN flex themselves into a losing matchup?
I actually think that this is kind of a bit difficult for Weber to play, yes, but it syncs well with the Jarvan, and we've mentioned it a lot of times, Hummus, how effective this Weber State squad can be when Goku and U13 are actually able to link up and be those two running the map. The other side, SYN Eternal Season, though, going to be picking up a lot of firepower when it comes to magic damage. Varus does mix damage, and now you have two heavy hitters of that AP threshold in the Gwen and the Hui. So we've got a lot of range, but we've also got a lot of scaling. And I think the onus is going to be on Weber to try and put their pedal to the metal the instant they hit the rift. Maybe draft something a little bit more early focused in the top lane and support roles.
We may have a lot of pedal to the metal. What we don't have is a lot of tank. Maybe Jarvan, but we don't got a whole lot of tank here. So I am looking for the Weber State top side to kind of round that out a little bit. Go tankier, give some survivability to Sunday, because we know that part of the success that the Yunara found was because the Yunara stayed alive in game number 1. We do have the next bans coming through. Yorick, Thresh, and Rakan means that once again, all eyes on support, and top lane's going to be wide open for these guys.
Yeah, top lane is going to be wide open. Honestly, I feel like, you know, if we're kind of trying to focus a little bit more on tankier top laners who function in the early game, obviously he's not a pure tank, as we are going to be seeing a Zed thrown down here, likely in the jungle for SYN Eternal Season. This is a pick that I really like, I think is really good, but doesn't have a ton of lockdown to hit his spells. So I think the lack of CC might prove to be a bit difficult for Munchie here in game number 2. But I really like Weber possibly going like a Renekton. They are going to instead decide to go Ambessa. Does have that lockdown with the public execution, but doesn't necessarily have that tankiness that you would have liked that Renekton gives you with the Dominus.
And final pick for Weber State University. Wow. You wanted a Rel, Quacks. You're going to get your Rel. It's just going to be on the wrong side of the rift here. Nautilus getting picked up by Weber State, and then the Rel answer by SYN Eternal Season means that we are going to have some of those tankier, hookier support engages that are so classic right now. My concern is, Quacks, on the Nautilus. A Nautilus that starts dying keeps dying. And don't get me wrong, I know it's bounty. Yeah. He looked really good in game 1. Don't get me wrong. He also threw his life away in support of his team quite often, which I'm a support player. I get it. You're supposed to do. It concerns me.
But to be honest with you, I feel like a lot of his deaths were there to just put Daption in the limelight and then immediately take him off stage, take him out back, and proverbially behind the woodshed, you know, kind of shoot him a little bit. As I think that's kind of the plan for Weaver this time around. I know that was a little bit of a graphic description, everyone at home, but it's true. I mean, the Nautilus is going to be aiming for the Varus, going to be aiming for the Sway, and then you're basically setting up for Ziggs, for Ahri to continue that barrage of damage. I also think it's just really nice to have with the Jarvan as well. So it syncs up really nicely, not only with the objective that Weaver want to go for, but it's a nice confluence that I think that they've built around themselves. And this Nautilus really just going to be a multiplier for that proactivity for Jarvan, for Ahri to set themselves up for a proper late game.
Absolutely. And I mean, with that's perfect segue. We were talking late game. Let's talk early game. Let's hit the rift for game number 2 between Weber State University and SYN Eternal Season. And let's see if Weber State University can have as much luck in this game, or I guess skill, because it wasn't a whole lot of luck, as they did in game number 1.
Weber going to be focusing a lot on that team fighting, a lot on getting those picks with Nautilus, with Jarvan. SYN, though, their focus is entirely on scaling. They've got the Gwen, they've got the Varus, they've got the Hui, but they've also got the Zed. I'm really interested to see how Munchie operates with this champion, because traditionally you want to see it with a lot of setup. And really the only setup that I see is that Rel, so might prove to be a bit of a challenging task for Munchie as top lane. Oh no.
Is spotted out on the Oracle, and it's going to be an early flash.
Oh, nah.
Still connects, plus the charm. Top lane falls. Sendy finds first blood. And more tragically, that flash is on a 5-minute cooldown, Quacks.
That is so tough for top lane. We've all been there when we say that the J4, or rather the Nautilus hook, does not hit you there. As now Munchie is actually going to be bullied out of his own jungle. Going to place not one, but 2 wards. It's a known fact. You know, Nice told me this after he charged me $200 for this information. The more wards you place, the bigger the circle is around that vision, Kappa.
I'll take your word for it, Quacks. All I know is I'm a support, and everybody always claims I don't ward enough, and I probably don't. It's fine. Buy control wards, folks. We'll worry about that later, though. As we get towards this, what I'm curious to see is, you know, Quacks, you and I, we've talked a lot about how we should focus on bot lane, how Daxton and Sendy are phenomenal players that should be focused on. With top lane having fallen, with there being no flash, how do the junglers react to that? Do they try and punish it some more? Because what I got right now is I got U13 completely stealing that top quadrant of Munchie's jungle.
And actually, I'm really interested to see what Munchie does after the fact. He's probably going to look for some aggressive play as top lane is now in a 1v2 situation. You still level 2, Batao still level 1.
The re-engage coming in, Batao on the run. You without the flag and drag on cooldown. Top lane gonna run back, and top lane not able to find Batao. The healing's coming out. Flash from you. Batao will find the kill. And top lane in a rough situation for top lane.
I mean, you say that, but Batao, I feel, and you, they almost got turned on. I think top lane played that about as good as he could have. Meanwhile, Munchie on the other end is going to be stealing away some camps, but look at Bounty. He's going to try and maybe be a bit of a nuisance.
Yeah, flash forward. Munchie is burning. Gonna
There's
land
no
the
way.
dredge line. Will just find the safety and security of Al Calamity. Season of Leaves roaming as well. But that's a spicy move from a support.
It definitely is, but Bounty accomplishes his mission. At the end of the day, he doesn't get the kill, but he gets the Zed off of his jungler's red buff and prevents Munchie from continuing to farm. One of the best things that gives Zed such a nice feeling to play in the jungle is how quickly he can clear with that passive. Being able to deal that extra bit of damage to targets below 50% HP makes him such a fast clearer, and so far Munchie has not been able to exercise that here in game number 2, thus preventing him from getting basically any kinds of gold.
Yeah, and we see you now walking into that. We could have the challenge by the Raptors. Where our camera's focus is on top lane. Our top lane is once again half health as Batao pressing under tower.
God, are they going to dive him?
Has you. We're going to recall. Sendy has to flash on the bot side as the crashdown comes out from Al Calamity. There will be no turret dive Quacks top lane, though.
Not the worst thing in the world, though, for Sendy, as he does have that teleport to immediately get back to lane. I don't think Munchie is going to be able to follow through with that dive. As speaking of dive, here comes you.
Yeah, Batao takes a turret shot, though, takes him out. Flag and drag means that Yu's going to take a couple as well. If only Munchie was nearby.
Bit of a whiff, a biff there from U13 as he completely, you know, sends the flag and drag wide. No kill for Weber State a third time around onto top lane. And really, this just gave SYN a good amount of time to scale on up. Look at Munchie. He managed to complete the objective of taking those camps away from U13 on the red quadrant. So Zed now decently ahead in terms of CS compared to his Jarvan counterpart. And if SYN can just sort of slow the game down from here, allow that scaling to get back on track, they should be able to remedy those first couple of early kills that Weber State got.
They should. However, we do know that Weber State knows how to play with a lead. So we'll see what happens as this evolves. We are at 5 minutes. The first dragon, Hextech, has spawned on the bot side of the map. We will see Grub spawning in 2.5 minutes time. If this is anything like game number 1, there will be absolutely zero priority towards this dragon.
Dragon probably not going to be aggressed on immediately by either one of these teams. But Weber, I have to imagine, probably just want to force the issue as Season of Leaves.
Yeah, flag, drag, flash. Season of Leaves having flashbacks to game number 1 will not die under their own tower this time. And Munchie looking to help top lane. The needlework is available. Batao dashing away. Munchie pressing forward. The needles come out. Batao will fall as Munchie finds his first kill.
Really good spacing coming out there from top lane, and really good Hallowed Mist to dodge the public execution. The top lane keeps his own life, doesn't secure the kill. It's going to go on to Munchie for the time being, but honestly, I feel like that is way more favorable for SYN in the long run. Zed really dependent on scaling, whereas Gwen just needs kind of the ability to scale, doesn't necessarily need the gold right up front. They take credit, you know, they don't take cash.
You didn't make those jokes around an accountant, Quacks. We'll go on a 5-minute segue about all the different ways you can pay.
Oh god, I don't know.
Oh, I'm teasing. The only payment that matters in the game of League of Legends is the gold to the shopkeep to get magical items. Speaking of items, we're about on that cusp with some of those first item completions, hopefully soon-ish. And I'm gonna be quiet because top lane is continuing to press, but Tau first dragon will fall to Munchie. That's why SYN starting their dragon stacking, starting to set themselves up well for that late game we were highlighting.
Top lane in a pretty good spot here on this part of the map. Batao, even though he managed to get that first early kill, hasn't necessarily been able to really force the issue ever since then. It kind of feels like top lane is starting to accumulate a bit of a lead in CS, and honestly, you look across the board, the items I think also sort of favor the Gwen, but I think the big thing that might be keeping Batao in the lead, at least when it comes to dueling and skirmishing, probably going to be that grasp, on top of the fact that Ambessa's cooldowns are just in general lower, but we definitely don't ignore the fact of top lane's recovery in this matchup, as now the matchup will be circumvented, a lane swap coming through from SYN ahead of these grubs.
There is, and I want to take a second. We talked about incremental advantages in game number 1, Quacks. And despite the rough early game pathing for Munchie, never mind, we're flashing forward. Charm goes wide, Lifeline goes wide. And for Weber State, it feels like these plays, Chains of Corruption goes wide. Flag and drag on the engage from you. Trying to make something happen. Charm will connect. That's speed of warfare as you Cataclysms down onto Dapton, but now it's Goku who's low. Munchie is pressing forward onto Sendy. Finds Goku, but will fall. Public execution onto Al Calamity. Flag and drag. I will stand corrected. It is almost an ace for Weber State University.
Weber just playing the skirmish better. Munchie denied so many opportunities to let loose on that Zed. He wanted to save his ultimate after he had taken down Goku, but he's forced to use that onto Sendy to cover the distance. He gets the kill in the end, but he loses his ultimate. He loses all his mobility. The Zed is hung out to dry, and SYN Eternal Season can't back him up. They all fall trying to do that. And so Weber State will be the ones that not only win out on the fight, but they get the grubs as well.
And, you know, Quacks, I was trying to say that it felt like all their skill shots had been going wide and things weren't quite connecting. And then they pull off something like that, and suddenly everything's connecting, and suddenly that's the Weber State that, you know, won game 1, and that's the Weber State that took a game off of Supernova. And yeah. I understand it now.
One of the big stories that I think is starting to develop here in the ACL, Hummus, is, you know, the idea and prospect of the dark horses, right? Players and teams that are capable of taking some wins against the best, but aren't necessarily favored to win the whole thing. I think Weber being able to 2-0 this series definitely puts them in that category. We visited one of those teams in the last week of games, Yanni and I, and you, when you were on production, I believe, when we were doing Gravity. That is another team that I think a lot of people look at as Sendy might be going down.
Same connect. Sendy flashing, staying alive for a very long time. Al Calamity going to take a couple turret shots. The effort was there. The execution was not.
They will burn flash off of Sendy, though, for the time being, and he's going to be forced to stay in mid simply because he doesn't have that teleport. He doesn't want to miss out on that gold. This may give an opportunity for SYN to look to go for a second chance at taking down the Ziggs, but they are going to think better of it. They don't have any vision on where Weber State really is. The only one that they know anything about is Goku, who's happily splitting on this top side. It's just keeping Season of Leaves busy.
Yeah, Charm, Electrocute will connect. And the concern for Season of Leaves, well, into Season of Leaves, is that when Hui starts hitting and those later games, he's going to really hit. And 0, 1, and 1 is not far enough
hang on.
behind.
Bounty on the flank.
Bounty's walk in. Public execution. Bounty says hello. Top lane says goodbye. But Tao gets kill credit as he goes on a killing spree.
It's going to be SYN Eternal Season. Maybe looking to even out the odds here. As you can see, Munchie is trying to look for a play onto Goku. But Goku backs up far enough to where Ari will manage to complete that recall. Batao 4-1, quietly building up his lead on this Ambessa. After that initial kill sort of slowed down in the matchup against top lane. But that top lane grub fight, I think, gave Ambessa a lot more gold. Now that kill as well, going to just accelerate this win condition even further. SYN Eternal Season, they're the kind of comp that wants to keep their distance from Weber State. But Ambessa, one of the best champions, particularly with top laners, at closing it.
Canes and Bounty just
Bounty?
poofs. Okay, flag and drag in. Goku can land for Charm. Calamity gonna disappear as well, but not before the Backstorm comes down. Saying he'll have a very long time, but it doesn't matter because Sandy goes on a killing spree, and now here comes Munchie.
Ooh.
The Zed jungle is online, gets charmed up, having to flash away, needs to be careful. It's double kill for Fendi, 4-0-3 with 9 stacks on a Dark Seal. The Ziggs ADC is here to play.
Ziggs has been also quietly building up its strength. Now, like you said, 4-0-3, 9 stacks on the Dark Seal, and this is ahead of a Dragon. SYN, they claimed the first, but they lose their jungler, and they lose their ability to really grip on to this bot side river. And now top lane, maybe in a little bit of trouble. Weber State really want to put a Vice Iron grip on this part of the map.
Absolutely. As we pan down, we do see that second dragon of the game is up. We'll have Rift Herald towards that top side in 2 minutes' time. And jungle objectives, they were important, but we didn't get to the part where they were super important in game number 1. We didn't get to Dragon Soul. Heck, I don't think we even saw Dragon Soul point actually get taken. So, I mean, the priorities around the fights for these dragons and these neutral objectives, but it's not actually around the jungle objective itself.
Certainly hasn't been. As you can see, SYN, they're trying to use their poke, leverage that range advantage to get something onto Weber State that allows them to go in, but they really aren't being given the opportunity. Weber State are balling up and looking for a hook.
Full engage, but Calamity doesn't matter. Season Leaves has fallen. Calamity on the run will fall as well. It's a quick double kill for Batao. Now Goku with the charm looking for more. And Spirit Rush, it's a 3v4.
You is split.
You is Dragon at half health. Continuing to be aggroed, continuing to do damage. Now the engage. Munchie finds it, but it costs Dapton's life. Munchie on the backside. It's a split fight. You goes down. Top lane says 1 and 3, no problem. I can take Batao. This is my moment. It is a triple kill for Munchie. It is a dragon. And for SYN, it is hope in this series.
And Munchie is just styling on the members of Weber State University. He manages a beautiful death mark, avoids so much damage after securing that dragon. His top lane ignited.
Took 2 turret shots.
Conqueror healing.
I thought for a second the Nautilus support had the 4-level disadvantage. Top lane will be able to escape. There is no super mega inferno bomb for Sendy. There is only the magnet storm and the butt end of a piercing arrow. And the Satchel charge away, but walked in at full health and walked out on a quarter.
And he's gonna have to stay. I mean, realistically, one more of those arrows hits you, and you are down for the count. So the Ziggs has to be extremely careful with how close he is. Herald coming up next, and Munchie getting a huge influx of gold now at 2 items on this Zed. Should be in a position where he can actually start to take the fight to people like Goku and Batao. It's just that little bit of a combo plus the lightning strike from Hwei will put Goku at half HP, and the topside river is owned by SYN.
And Weber State knows they can't contest the Rift Herald. Going to try and get what they can elsewhere, which does mean Batao's going to press in this bot lane. It will be Rift Herald. It will be the feat of jungle slaying. which means that all eyes are going to be on whichever tower falls first for the full feats of strength from this game, too.
Look, top lane, that turret on blue
They're
side is really low. They have Ziggs, though. If they can try and force the issue, then maybe they can beat them to it. Look at that top lane turret, though.
Yeah, I was keeping an eye on the bot lane dive. Calamity is there. Munchie finds the tower, and just like that, SYN have a 500 gold lead. They have the feats of strength, and they have stopped use recall.
It's a 1-for-1, but still way more advantageous for SYN as they have the Herald. Goku just gets eliminated.
The damage output from Season of Leads, I tried to comment on it earlier, and I still won't get to because Munchie's going after Bounty under tower. It's 2 and a tier 2 for SYN. Daption on the run from you, but now turning, able to stand there. Calamity and support the rest of the team coming around as well. And Quacks, I think it's safe to say Season of Leaves is in his season of damage.
He absolutely is. He has completed that Seraph, so we'll also have the little bit of defense that Hui needs in order to thrive in these fights. But the big breadwinner of this SYN comp in game number 2 is Munchie. This Zed is running circles around Weber State and is showing no signs of stopping, but Tao has to flash away. This top lane is getting closer and closer to that 2-item mark on Gwen, so slowly but surely, despite being 7 kills on Ambessa, this Gwen is really starting to pack a punch. Or, pack some needles and scissors.
The punch of a seamstress punches hard, okay, Quacks? As we reset, we take a breath. We have Infernal Soul on the map, Infernal Dragon spawning in a minute and a half's time. SYN, we talked about their late game. They are looking for dragon stacking. It's part of their win con. If they can get this dragon in a minute's time, it would be soul point for them. And to start it off, they're going to try and find that mid-tier 1. Quacks, you and I both know how much that mid-tier 1 falling opens up the map. It gives them room to roam, and it gives them room to try and find those flanks that were so important in game number 1.
And this is so damn difficult for Weber State to overcome because they're the kind of comp that should be, the siege comp. They've got the grubs, but they've also got the Ziggs, and they still haven't been able to break down 2 of those outer turrets despite Stendy, on the Ziggs. But they will be able to push the wave ahead of this dragon. 30 seconds until that comes up. This would be SYN at soul point, and they certainly don't want to give that away.
Season of Lee's teleporting towards that mid side. There is no vision for SYN around this pit. They need to pay respect to Weber State in the setup that they have been able to find. And they will. There's also a whole lot of poke from Season of Leaves coming out here. And
keep your eyes on Munchie, though. This Zed has been the main factor for their wins over the past couple of minutes.
On the flank, the charm public execution is beautiful. Season of Leaves gets taken off the board. It's a split fight. How long can top lane survive? The answer with the charm cataclysm is pretty darn long. Can survive the entire time, but effectively off the board. Munchie on the flank sees a whole bunch of half-health members. But the damage from Sendy is good, getting around the charm. The master storm, now Calamity finds it, and Munchie is huge! Sendy falls as well, and all of a sudden it's Batao left standing. The teleport coming in from top lane. Batao on the run. SYN on soul point. And Weber State, it looks so good until Munchie hit R.
And I mean, Munchie, it's an old saying for the Zed mains out there, but he's got to hit the on that pick. He manages to turn the fight. They will get the soul point. The jungler for SYN is popping off here in game number 2 on this pick, Hummus.
And to his credit, it's not like the Pantheon was bad in game 1. Like, it was
he had 3 kills. He was 3-0. It's just that he got outscaled. Now look at him, though. He's on 3 items. He's showing no signs of stopping Weber State. They've got to find this Zed, but the man is too damn slippery.
It's hard to find a character when they can just go untargetable as part of their ultimate. It's also worth noting that SYN is now at a 5,000 gold lead. Baron spawning in 4.5 minutes. And more importantly, Quacks, this is the largest gold lead we have seen at any point in this series.
We're going to have to see if SYN can take us to a game 3 with it. They are invading the jungle as Sendy.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Munchie goes in between tier 2 turrets. Goes Legendary, finds Sendy, and then
Oh, what?
back over the wall. Bounty's left wondering where he's going. And I was thinking it earlier, Quack. Zed Jungle, it's been really hit or miss.
Yeah.
Munchie is giving us a master
Oh,
class
he's hitting.
tonight.
Oh, he's hitting. This is the kind of, you know, teleports behind you performance, nothing personal, kid type beat that we've been looking for with this champion. This is like the Tarzan performance that he managed to give off in the LPL finals in that split 2, but it's the Temu version. It's the ACL version, as now the Otacon is being started. Weaver are trying to make a cross-map play, but they don't have a wave.
They don't have a wave. Otacon has been finished, and top lane can just back off a little bit because the recalls are through, and SYN is here to support. This has not been top lane's game. Sendy will finally find a turret, but at what cost? Because I see Adaption running down mid lane right now.
Adaption will manage to, at the very least, push that wave. In a couple of minutes until the Baron spawns, look at the amount of warding being done by SYN on that top side. It is lit up like a Christmas tree. Weber State, they have to go through that. They have to clear that vision ahead of this Baron. But if SYN are able to transition this mid lane turret and play up toward that top side, it's going to be so damn risky because you run the chance of running in to a Zed or a Rel. Base checking against this comp just isn't in the cards. So it's really tough for Weber to realistically walk up without a care in the world.
Yeah, Goku is going to try and clear some of that out. Is on the Oracle lens, and I mean, a lot of that is control wards. I mentioned that you need to buy them. This is why. And Sendy just goes poof. The chain disruption will still land. Season leaves with the range to clean it up. Just like that, the damage has fallen. Munchie doesn't even care. He's going to keep pressing forward on the Bounty, take him down to half health. Over the wall,
Holy moly!
Piercing arrow goes wide. Adaption cannot follow this, but it doesn't matter because Munchie just does Zed things and backs on out. But Tao is topside. He's trying to find the top tier of one, but he is losing his entire base for it.
And now they've broken the base. The inhibitor is exposed. Weber State missing Sendy, likely going to have to give it up. You can see top lane is in bot lane, just pushing that down as well. It's about 90 seconds until that dragon spawns, so pushing these two lanes is going to be extremely advantageous for them to just secure vision around this part of the map, sort of set up a wall that Weber State can't get through. Weber, though, they have to try. This really is do or die time. This Zed has been such a thorn, but if they can pluck it, they can look to win and secure themselves a 2-0.
The problem is because... Oh, okay. Oh, Calamity had to flash that. Because this is a do or die, SYN knows exactly where Weber State is going to be. Where Baron is spawning pretty much on pace with Dragon here. We could see a Baron for Dragon trade initiated by SYN if they wanted to, but they know where Weber has to be. There's no way you just give up Infernal Souls here, which means they can prep, they can get vision, they can plan, and they can make another brilliant river entry like they did for the previous Dragon.
I don't hate the cross-map play, especially because SYN, realistically, the most important thing for you right now is getting that siege, right? You've broken open the base. If you can get those super minions to flood onto those two remaining Nexus turrets, you can really start closing out the game. But they want this soul. They want the fight. They're going to try and contest Weaver on this mid-wave, Hummus.
Chains of Corruption does land. Bounty will just pop. Now the engage, but Tao having a flash has Munchie going after him. The public execution does nothing to save him. He is 2 levels down. But Tao is on the run as Munchie will find that kill. And now it's the rest of Weber State. And the flank is coming through from top lane. Calamity pressing for the crash down over the wall. Sendy gets exhausted. Sendy gets popped. Sendy will fall. And now it's you doing everything possible. Munchie will fall. But it is too little, too late. It is Goku against 4 members of SYN, and it is Infernal Soul on their minds.
I don't think SYN can go for the end, actually. I think they are going to need to go just for that dragon. Probably not what they wanted, given how ahead they were at the start of that fight. But like you said, Hummus, they lose Munchie. They lose their main form of firepower, and they are just going to back on away. The death timers are not long enough. So it will be Soul. They're still in firm control of this game. But it is not yet over. Weber State are still alive, but just barely.
Be fair, Quacks, we are only 26 minutes into this game.
Yeah.
I know it feels like longer than that, but we are only 26 minutes into this game. That also means that we had a 26-minute soul rush by SYN. It means that if we make it to 31-ish, Elder will be on the map. More importantly, though, Baron is up on the map. With an inhibitor down, Baron, it feels like, would be the final nail in the coffin for Weber State.
Weber, yeah. They really are running out of options here. That Baron is likely going to be started up by SYN as sort of just a way to bait them into fighting them. Weber really have no choice but to actually respond. It really is a, damned if you do, damned if you don't situation. We'll see what they decide to go for.
Who knows? Maybe Batal can pull off another epic steal. Did one in game 1. It's fine.
Maybe. Yeah. Or Bounty. Supports have been known to be kind of the heroes of this series, but the main hero of this game really does feel like Munchie.
Oh.
Wow. Okay.
That's like half a use health bar. Okay, the charm does connect onto Al Calamity. They're doing spacing. It's worth noting that these 4 members of SYN are just stalling. They are letting top lane get the push in. They are making him get answered. And now that the second recall is coming through, it's going to get spotted out by Munchie. The dredge line does connect. Stun comes.
They got him!
Munchie just gets popped. Al Calamity with the Magic Storm. Goku pressing forward, but the teleport coming in from top lane. Batal coming in to join the fight. You at under half health. The Needlework comes out. Top lane is on a rampage.
Batal is on the back line.
Falling. It's top lane for top lane. Batal on the flee. It's a double kill.
Oh, the cancel!
Al Calamity falling low. It's a triple kill for Goku. Now it is top lane against the world. And do they get there?
Top lane is going to be pushing in that wave. He's going to try and end the game. Yu is so low on HP, but Tao and Sendy have to be the ones that try and take this Baron. Top lane is still in the area. Will he try to contest? He is going to be against 3. This Gwen is damn strong, but is he strong enough?
No Needlework up. The teleport coming in from Goku. Top lane gets enough to push them out, but it's a 1v4, and when the charm connects, it's a 1v dead. The shutdown for Goku. It's an unofficial quadra for Goku, and it is Baron for Weber State University.
Weber just got a massive inflection of gold here. Now 2K up over their counterparts. They have the Baron in tow. Munchie, you put all your eggs in one basket. If that egg cracks, it breaks. And SYN were broken in that top fight. It really feels like if they can just find an angle onto the Zed, they should be able to win. They weren't able to do it until now. But Baron means there is a small chance for them to come back. SYN, though, are still the stronger team. If they can just play around Munchie, they can win the game.
The gold lead has swung back into favor of Weber State Esports.
Yeah.
At 30 minutes in, Quacks, we are where we were in game number 1. We are one team fight away from either giving Weber State the 2-0 victory or sending us to a game 3. Because those respawn timers are long enough that one full team fight will be enough to march down and take that base. We haven't seen it quite yet. Those respawn timers are going to be 40, 50 seconds at this point when they do fall. And, Weber State got the better of that team fight when they needed to in game number 1. Does lightning strike twice? Do they find it again here in game number 2?
Weber State were so down for the count in game number 2. Munchie was dominating the jungle matchup, but they have been resilient. They have been able to hold on. With that Baron, though, the clock is starting to run out. They really want to try and siege some of these objectives. But, look across the map. The wave clear from Season of Leaves from Daption is proving too difficult for them to actually punch through. So, ultimately, I feel like you get this Baron, you push in those waves, but it's not to get the turrets. It's instead to set up for this Elder coming up in a little over 90 seconds as Batal.
Top lane going to start with the Needlework. Second one goes wide. Third one will connect full force. Batal under half health. Munchie gets it, but the support isn't needed. Now there's 3 members roaming up here. Yu has the Guardian Angel as the 3rd item purchased. Munchie does not even flash it. That's just a dash. The engage. Goku goes gold and the Super Mega Inferno Bomb comes down on top.
Teleport.
Munchie finds Goku, and Daption is here. Daption has fallen. The Guardian Angel gets popped. And yeah, you lost your ADC, but Weber State University is losing everybody else as Season of Leaves finds the 4th. It is just Sendy.
Sendy?
I should never say just Sendy, apparently. That's double kill. Maybe we stop chasing this man. The bombs hurt.
I mean, All Calamity is trying to look for an angle. The Rel has the speed up. The Rel has the mobility, but won't get the opportunity to use them. As Sendy will be the lone survivor. He takes 2 off the back of the chase that SYN go for. Baron not going to be up for a while. Elder going to be up in 30 seconds. SYM with the superior numbers should have control over this side of the river, but the respawns will come up in time to where Weber State can look to fight for this. It is round number 3 here, Hummus, in the ACL Game 2 between Weber and SYN Eternal Season.
Top lane spawning just a couple of seconds before Elder, but does have the teleport up. Goku's teleport not up, but Tao's and Sendy's are. How's the Season of Leaves? If it's important, we could have the full 5v5. And as the teleport comes in from top lane, Piercing Arrow going to start doing some of that poke work, but Tao at about half health already.
Yeah. Oh no, Bounty.
Damage. Top lane pressing forward in the Shroud. Bounty says, spiraling despair, woe is me. And now you come with the rest of the team. Cataclysm will not save you. The flag and drag buys you time, but it's a double kill for top lane. And with the jungler down, there is nothing stopping SYN from finding Elder 32 minutes into this game.
U13 just goes way too far. He's isolated from his team. He's not able to get anything done, and he falls. The jungler of Weber, not there for the objective, means, like what you said, Hummus, it will be the Elder secured by SYN. Now they've got that. They've got the Infernal Dragon. They've got around 20 seconds until U13 will be the last one to respawn on Weber State's side. Can they end the game here?
Goku lands the charm and Season of Leaves falls low. We'll have the teleport to rejoin the fight after recalling. As the charm goes wide on top lane, the mid inhibitor will fall again. The bot inhibitor next on the docket. Here's the teleport from Season of Leaves, but Tao having to recall to rejoin the team.
But Tao canceled it.
Oh my god, you can't base race this. We're gonna try it anyway. Bot inhibitor does fall.
Bot inhibitor falls, mid inhibitor falls, but they're actually going to be backing up. They don't have a wave in mid. The only thing that they can do is push through bot lane, but Sendy will be holding the line. Despite having Elder, despite having Soul, SYN are being held at base somehow, Hummus. The wave clear from Weber is just too strong.
And, I mean, I'm getting deja vu, Quacks, because we were saying this like 3 minutes ago when Weber State had Baron. They couldn't get a whole lot. It's fine. We reset, we breathe, we spend some of that gold. Top lane is very, very close to the completion of the Rabadon's death cap as well. That is worth noting.
Yep.
Oh my god, that's 2 Rabadons. No wonder Goku's doing so much damage.
I mean, that Elder is going to be falling off around the same time that this Baron does spawn. So I think the onus really is on SYN to take this Baron basically the moment that it hits the rift. Otherwise, they will have a lot harder of a time actually contesting it. The question kind of becomes, will Weber bother to try and fight for this? They don't have any vision around that side of the map, and you can actually see U13 will be completely ignoring it. So Weber give this up. They have the confidence, especially because that Elder will eventually run out. They have the confidence in Sendy to be able to wave clear. It really becomes a game of protect President Ziggs. Let him take these waves down. Sendy doesn't have flash, so it's an easy target for Munchie. They have to be so careful with how they play these next couple of minutes.
Yu is out of base, but Tao is once again split pushing. SYN says we're going to take everything away. Top inhibitor going to be the next one to target. Elder is still up. We'll look for these guys to stop glowing white. That's how we know it's come off, and I think it just did.
It did. Yep. So Elder removed, Baron still there, but Tao still split pushing. SYN, they have to look for some kind of a play. They have to force the issue. They have to go in.
The waves are desynced enough. At this point, we're just going to let the Baron cannons do the work. Wait for the Baron super minions in mid lane to come in. 2 members had to recall to deal with Batao. This man is a split push king. Will be top lane and Munchie that reset for it. And now these waves are starting to get synced up coming out of base. All 3 inhibitors are down means that you will have 6 super minions crashing every time these waves hit base. And all that matters now is just getting them in. Batao getting collapsed on by 5 members. Public execution goes just wide. Batau gets caught up first. Needles go wide. Here's the rest of the team, but Batau will just
burn! The burn!
The spiraling despair means that Bounty will fall. Redemption comes down. Excuse me, that was a Crypt Bloom. Oh, Calamity at half health. 1 pick. Down for 42 more seconds. With that wave coming in, the teleport from top lane. This could be the pick. This could be the push that SYN finally needs to seal this game.
The remaining members of Weber State, they've got to heal up. Batau is so low, but they keep their top laner alive. Will it pay dividends is the question. Sendy is clearing the waves, but finally, those sync up. The ones from bot lane are coming in, and the Ziggs is so low. Goku
goes golden, but it doesn't matter because the turret collapses. The engage is solid from you, but the wallet difference is just too much. The Baron is too big. The Guardian Angel out. Calamity falls, but the base is falling in shambles. The health bars are so low, but the Baron buffed minions are putting in the work. You looking for top lane will not find it. Sendy, the last bastion, will fall. Bounty finds a shutdown onto Munchie, but it is not enough. SYN Eternal Season keeping their hopes in this GSL alive. And we're going to game 3, Quacks.
We are indeed. I would say silver scrapes, but unfortunately this is not a best of 5. Still though, 15 kills on to Munchie. It was a bit of a delayed game toward that latter 1/3, and something that I think SYN need to work on for game number 3. But up until that point, up until he got caught at that blue buff, Munchie was putting on a performance that you look at and say, now it's my turn to first time Zed jungle and solo queue, because I want to be like that guy. That was a hell of a performance, a hell of a show from the jungler of SYN Eternal Season. And I am really interested to see what dark technologies they put him on for game number 3, if they put him on something more unorthodox like the Zed.
For the record, if anybody's watching this, do not first time Zed jungle. You are not that
Don't
guy.
do that.
You will instead make 9 other people cry and maybe catch a couple reports. Munchie is that guy, though. I can safely say it. Munchie is that guy. And yes, SYN cleanup game number 2. It was painful getting to that end. It felt like game 1 ended so fast that when game 2 took a while, it was a little rough getting there. For game number 3, though, you got 20 champions off the board. You've been here, you've done this, you should still have solid comps. I am so excited to see what these guys come out with, because Weber State has proven that they can follow a game plan.
They absolutely can. I think Weber have done a really good job at being consistent in this series. Even though they lost game number 2, they kept Sendy alive, right? They said Sendy needs to live, Sendy needs to wave clear. If we can just make sure that this Ziggs is unbesmirched and is capable of, eliminating those waves, he should be in a position to stall out this game and give us an opportunity to come back. That almost happened more than once, Hummus, but unfortunately, Batau just got caught split pushing a little too far. They sacrificed the support, but it's a 4v5, and that was enough for SYN that last time. And like you said, we're going to game number 3, but before we go to that 3rd game, before we go to the climactic finale of this series, we are going to take a small little break, so don't go anywhere. We'll see you all on the other side.
The final time tonight. Welcome back. I'm still Hummus. I'm still joined by Quacks, and we are in game 3 of this GSL matchup between SYN Eternal Season and Weber State University. The winner will face Cupid Esports on Monday. The loser will be Team D. And Quacks, I don't know about you, but I don't want to be Team D. It doesn't sound great.
Yeah, I think a lot of people are kind of confused by the format. So to keep it very brief, basically kind of how it works is every single team plays this GSL, and then the best team will be Team A, the worst team will be Team F, and you kind of get numbered between those letters. It's a bit confusing, but Team A's play Team A's, Team B's play Team B's, Team C's play Team C's. You get the picture. The idea is they will match you against, teams of similar skill bracket, and then you should be able to, from there, play, I think, every single other person. It's another, I think it's a 4-man GSL, a double elimination bracket in its own right, and the top 2 are going to make it to the playoffs. So you basically get seeded against other teams of your own caliber. So in a way, you might say, all right, well then isn't getting Team D better because then I get to play against worse teams? Yeah, you would say that, but then you're going to be playing against a team that is seeded better, has had practice against better teams, and overall is likely just a better team themselves because of who they've been playing. So getting a team C or higher is really important for, I would say, the longer term of the ACL season.
All right, one of these teams going to be there, one of these teams not. As a reminder, Game 3 means that 20 Fearless champions are banned. Those are on top of our heads. Weber State University had to emergency sub in a support for tonight, so they are down ban 1. That is not a glitch on your screens. And if you were with us for game number 2, we have swapped sides back to game number 1 positions. SYN Eternal Season back on that blue side, and Weber State trying to prove the dominance of red, because right now red side is 2-0 in this series.
Yeah, red side has been the victor of this series thus far. You are definitely correct in that assessment, Hummus. But SYN Eternal Season had a big individual carry from game number 2. Munchie really putting the team on his back. So you have to think that they want to give an advantageous matchup over to their jungler. You as well has been really good over the course of this series, was instrumental to that win that they got for game 1. So I really think that this is the kind of matchup that we want to highlight for game number 3, given the context of this series thus far, Hummus.
I think so. It's also worth keeping an eye on the bot sides of the map. Daption and Sende have been incredible in this series. And Quacks, in drafter game number 2, you were begging for more mobility for Daption. I think that still went wanting in game number 2. So I'm hoping we see something like an Ezreal that really has that level of mobility that'll let Daption be free and prove that he's also incredible at the game of League of Legends.
I mean, Daption as well. This is kind of a player that has flown under the radar in terms of story, but this man was a support once a long time ago, and not really a long time ago. He is known for being a support on teams such as Team Fish Taco. I believe that was a little bit before my time, so if I'm wrong, I apologize. But now he is swapped over to AD carry, is trying to play against some other of the up-and-coming talents, such as Sendy, on this Weber State squad. And that's why they feel comfortable giving him first pick Senna. This is a champion that he's used to playing, has had 3 games on it so far, Hummus, and is the definition of a comfort pick. Going into game number 3, I think that means a lot.
And Senna ADCs always scare me because they take a little while to get going, and it's difficult. It's not like Sivir where 200 CS and she's cracking and rolling.
There's a lot of chances for it to go wrong. That is certainly correct. I feel like a Senna that isn't able to get those stacks, isn't able to scale, and doesn't have the space to be able to do both those things really struggles into the grand scheme of things. Whereas Weber State, drafting this Misfortune, it's a little bit more one-dimensional. You just need setup for that bullet time. But I will say, a lot of that setup that you think of, particularly in the support role, has been axed through Fearless. Rel is one such champion that we will not be seeing. Nautilus is another. Leona is a third. So really the question becomes, what are Weber going to put Bounty on that will allow this Misfortune bullet time to be effective in the team fights?
There are still options like the Blitzcrank and the Thresh open. They serve the role a little less well than the Leona and
Yeah,
the Rel, but they serve the role better than a lot of other things. Rakan is
that's a good one.
also a great answer.
Yeah.
I feel like Rakan is really underrated because he's not as tanky as like the Alistar and stuff like that. So I at least forget he exists. But the engage that comes off of a Rakan is absolutely insane. And SYN, I think we talked about Rumble game 1. Gonna be our
Yep.
game 3 pick here. Gonna get slammed down completely blind. I like it.
And this is really good. I like it as well, not only because I think Rebel is a beautiful blind in top lane, but the big counters in Galio and Ornn, those are off the board, right? You don't necessarily have a free checkmate into the Rumble. Ambessa is another champion that can really put the hands on Rumble. I think really the only thing that you have left, maybe for Patau, he could go something like a Gragas. This is champion that he really likes to play. Aatrox is another response if you want to be a little less cordial in the laning phase. But I think both of those certainly are up the wheelhouse for the Weber State top laner. And you were talking about champs that need to buy the space for Senna. Alistar going to be the response by them. And I think it's a really good one, though I will say now Weber could maybe just slam the Sylas. This is a bit worrying. You always want to make sure that the opposing team has picked their mid laner before you lock in that Alistar pick. So it's kind of like, what do Weber want to do? Is Goku comfortable on the Sylas, or do they really want to try and get a good matchup, or at least a decent counter into this Rumble before those are inevitably banned away?
We'll see. That third pick is taking a little bit of time to come through. I will say the Sylas would be a unique champion select for, say, look, there it is.
There we go.
You are psychic. You are on fire tonight. And the beauty of the Sylas, in addition to, of course, having
and Equalizer, by the way, he has both Equalizer and the Unbreakable. That's tough. That is rough for
the other
SYN.
beauty of it is it naturally bans out some more champions for SYN.
Yeah.
We'll have the 2 bans, but you also have to think in the back of your head, do we really want to give them more ultimates? Like, heaven forbid, not that I think we're going this way, but heaven forbid we pull out a Maokai jungle and suddenly we've got a Nature's Grasp too. Talk about setup for a bullet time, I give you Tree Roots.
Yeah, I think Maokai could be a good response now that you bring it up, Hummus. I think we're probably going to be seeing you, pilot more of a setup-esque jungler here. And that'll be really interesting to see because I feel like he has been, put on fighters, not just throughout this series, but throughout his kind of career over this split in the ACL. He's been known for a lot of the skirmishers, has things like the Pocket Belveth as well. Hasn't been known for those setup champions. I think that onus has always fallen on Goku more specifically, but now Goku is kind of on the carry, and Weber are probably going to have to give him some support through the jungler, and SYN are preparing for this. They're banning out the Sejuani. Maokai is another such ban that I think we're going to be expecting here, Hummus, and just taking off a lot of those supportive pieces that Weber might draft.
Absolutely. The Zoe taken off the board as well. And I think if you're Weber State, I mean, Goku got, I believe it was an unofficial quadra kill in game number 2. It was an official triple kill. And Goku's already, it snuck by. Like, I wasn't expecting it, and all of a sudden I see it pop up with like a triple, and I'm like, oh crap, Goku. I think if there is a guy that can perform well on the Sylas, it's gonna be Goku. He's been giving us quietly good performances all series long. This could be his time to shine. Skarner going to be the final ban, and Victor as well, as we look to set up these mid jungle and top jungles. And we're just going to slam down the York.
Yeah, we're going to be throwing that. We're going to be saving a B5 pickup for U13, which I think is really telling of how much respect Weber are actually putting onto Munchie after that Game 2 performance. They're saying, we can't give this guy a good matchup, otherwise he is going to tear us asunder in the early to mid game. So it's a bit of I would say a controversial pick, but it is definitely one that has merit given that Rumble has already been selected. Jack's now going to be snagged up here as the choice for Munchie in game number 3. Has played this one before, so has some experience on it, and I think is really valuable given how many auto attackers there are on Weber. Quirky going to be the last thing for SYN, so pretty damn short-ranged minus that Senna. Weber, what will be your response in jungle? I mean, you could go like like, I don't know, you probably want to go someone with some magic damage. So I'm thinking maybe like a Lilia is an option. You probably don't want to go Nidalee. They're just going to slam the Viego. It's good. There's a lot of mobility on this top side in particular, right? I mean, even small things such as Rumble having the speed up from W will help him get those Heartbreaker resets and just sort of snowball as the fight goes on. But it is very skill matchup-y. I think that this is going to be the ultimate test of both of these junglers, two players that on Salty Rumbeck, I don't know how, kept up you are on those episodes, Hummus. I don't know if you watch those, but these are two junglers that both Hawk and Grape said could be on like the NACL ballot given enough time. They are two of the best junglers off of those, proverbial top 3 NACL teams. So it'll be interesting to see who comes out on top, and whoever comes out on top in that matchup is likely going to win this series.
And I have concerns about the Viego for you. Munchie's Zed was very feast or famine, and it got very feisty, and then all of a sudden it got CC'd and it went straight famine. And don't get me wrong, it was like 18-4 by the end of the game. In no way, shape, or form was it bad. Yu's Viego can very much be similar in that regard of if the Counter-Strike lands and if these things come down and suddenly you get CC'd and he just pops, then Weber State doesn't necessarily have a whole lot to fall back on. I agree with you that all eyes are going to be on jungle, but I want to go back a second because that is a Corki mid, and I haven't seen Corki mid in a hot minute, much less into a Sylas. Is it as bad as I'm fearing it is?
No, it's not bad at all. I mean, Corki ultimate is not like the best possible thing that Sylas can take. The rockets do have value, but it's kind of a bit of a waste. I feel it's not the most effective thing. And Corki also has the opportunity to actually get away from Sylas in the short exchanges. So this isn't a bad matchup by any means. It is just something that I think Season of Leaves in particular is a lot less comfortable on. We know this guy as the Lux man. We know him to be playing long range stuff. Mel, Lux, Azir, Victor, all of that stuff. Hwei as well, like in game number 2, he is not used to playing AD short-ranged mid laners. So this is going to be kind of a test of his playstyle and being able to branch out and, showing his capability in that front.
Well, we will see if it is one challenge too far. We're going to slide it over onto the Rift for the third and final time tonight. One of these teams will face Cupid Esports next Monday. One of them will be Team D. But for both of these teams, Quacks, you mentioned this was a skill matchup. These were two closely fought teams. Games 1 and 2 have been on a nice edge. I expect Game 3 to be no different. This is a test of fortitude and of keeping calm under pressure.
Certainly is, as there is a decent amount riding on this win. You may not see it now, but I think the ACL season has really been engineered to be, a lot of the small advantages that you get end up compounding and being a huge, massive favor to you once those playoffs start rounding the corner. Weber State going to love this win if they can get it. SYN going to be the same emotionally, as we're seeing both teams just trying to get some information. You can see Munchie is in that bush, likely going to be placing a ward down in the red buff to track where U13 is going. Weber are just going to drop the ward on those Raptors, but it will be seen by All Calamity. So at the very least, SYN are aware that they're being tracked. Weber, though, a little bit less knowledgeable.
And I mean, if you want to talk about those small advantages that compound, Al Calamity has an extra 5 gold off spotting that ward. It's all over, Quack.
Oh, GG.
We
GG.
can just call it now.
Yeah, it's game over from there. Absolutely. As like we said, Season of Leaves, this is not a champion that we are used to him piloting. It is likely a champion that he is not used to playing. And I think it is going to be a nice little litmus test on his skill outside of his comfort champions in those long-range mages.
Talk about skill. I'm a support player, so I'm always impressed by the support, but like Al Calamity just headbutted Bounty out of the grand entrance. It was like beautiful. It was like, I'm coming. No, you're not. You're leaving.
Yeah. But that time he gets hit by the grand entrance and will be taken down to about half HP. And both junglers, I think, pathing opposite from one another is going to be advantageous for both parties. I don't necessarily think either one of these champs want to be fighting each other on the river. They just want to try and maximize their gold income before they hit level 6, and then they can really start going. Level 6/1 item are those breakpoints you really have to look out for both Viego and Jax.
And I do think that this is a quicker setup to game than we see in games 1 and 2. Games 1 and 2, we were talking 20 minutes. Late game here, we're talking mid-game. And that means that we are guaranteed to see some action like Batau's Yorick, doing what Yorick does best and just being oppressive in lane and oppressive towards this turret. And Quacks, that's without level 6 and the Maiden.
Yeah, I mean, Batau is really going to just try and look to throw the pressure onto top lane, like you said. Rumble, another champion that I think is in the same vein as Pantheon, where he is very strong early, but then sort of tends to fall off a cliff around that mid-game. Gets really strong later on, though. Once, you know, you hit that 4 to 5 to 6 item mark, can really start to pull the trigger and start one-shotting enemies like you do in the early game.
All right, the engage from Al Calamity means he has to use the Summoner Heal, but the root out means that Adaption and Al Calamity are safe. They're down a level, they're down a little bit of health, but they are safe. This isn't going to be a great lane for them for a while. We talked about Adaption needing the stacks, needing to farm up. And maybe it'll get there because Bounty is melee, but it's going to take a little while for Adaption to really be online and be oomphy.
Yeah, Adaption is definitely just looking to get as many stacks as possible in this laning phase. Doesn't really want to be looking to fight. Ulk, though, wants to try and cancel those backs. Is going to think better of it. We can see, actually, as we pan back toward the top lane, Batau is now being forced under his own turret. I think because of that triple tonic proc from top lane, he has that extra 5 true damage. That may not sound like a ton, but early on, 5 true damage can actually go a long way in helping you win the trade, scaring off Batau from being dominant on these waves. So it will now be kind of pushed back. Maybe this opens up an opportunity for you, though there is that ward in the tri-bush, so might be a bit risky.
Al Calamity down to under half health here with the press forward from Bounty. Daption was recalling, but will keep his support safe. 4.5 minutes in, first dragon will be spawning in 20 seconds time. And Quacks, there's been like no priority towards first dragon at all in this series. Does that change in this game?
I don't think so, but I still think that Weber should have an overwhelming advantage around that bot side. They just have champions that I think are better at dueling earlier on in the game. I'm looking at that Sylas, I'm looking at that Viego, and that can be really detrimental if they are able to get their damage off. Senna as well is notoriously weak around 3v3, 4v4 skirmishes, so you really don't want to put Daption in that position where he has to potentially drop a wave, drop stacks that he could get in order to fight basically almost certainly a losing battle.
Absolutely. At level 6, Batau has the Maiden now procced. Means that it will come down. Sandy gonna be able to...
Dragon being started.
On the way,
yeah,
it is, and we're gonna have the fight on it. It's under half health with you pressing forward on it, but Al Calamity, headbutt pulverizing in, Season of Leaves on the continuation. U13 having to flash over the wall, and now it's kind of Bounty in the middle of everything. Is going to be able to use the quickness to get away. But it's Goku, it's a 4v4, and it's split. Goku steals the Unbreakable Will. The stun comes out. Al Calamity finds the first kill. Goku, unbreakable. He is not. Once he finds another kill, and it'll be Cloud Dragon taken just 6 minutes in for SYN Eternal Season.
And it felt like they just played the fight better. I think Bounty wasting that quickness to try and interrupt Al Calamity's combo onto his backline basically, you know, washed away Weber's best chance at actually engaging the fight on their own terms. Then they had to kind of play back. Goku tried to be that engage, but it wasn't enough even with the Unbreakable. So it's kills over to SYN. Munchie in particular going to not only get a kill, but also that dragon. Big mistake from Weber, and we'll have to see if it can be compounded into anything bigger by SYN.
Absolutely. For right now, Goku pressing forward and is getting lit up. Season of Leaves, not quite able to find the solo kill, does have to flash out from Bounty. Al Calamity looking to secure Goku. It's the supports versus the mid laners. But Pulverized U is taken out of action. Now Munchie looking on Bounty. It's the weirdest 3v3 I've ever seen, but Munchie comes up with a kill. On the run now, does have to flash out Calamity there with the headbutt pulverized. Season of Leaves on a sliver of health, having to be careful. Batau has roamed down, and Daption has roamed up. Batau flashes and does not find a kill. Now it's Dapton looking for more. Calamity landing the headbutt
Sendy.
pulverized to his death. Sendy finally roaming up here. This is the drawn-out team fight, but it is coming up in favor of Weber State University as Goku finds a second kill.
I mean, I think SYN just way overstay their hand. They find the feats of strength, or rather the feats of warfare. It's another kill onto Munchie, but they decide to stay. They decide to look for more. Their health bars don't favor them continuing the fight. And that means Weber will get some back. It's 2 kills onto Goku now, definitely capable of fighting his way through Season of Leaves. And we were seeing how dominant Season of Leaves was in the trades on that Corki. I think after those 2 kills, after that gold being spent, should be a little bit easier for Goku to be aggressive.
Okay. We breathe, though. Gold about 700 in favor of SYN Eternal Season at this point in time. 8 minutes means that Void Grubs have spawned. Now Calamity continuing right where he left off with the headbutt pulverized, but the re-engage from Goku is here supported by you. Needs to back away. And now Calamity has one button right now, Quacks, and that is go forward and engage.
Goku is just continuing to look for fights, but I mean, take a look at Munchie.
Calamity does land the pulverize, but he will die yet again. The Dawning Shadow across the top does not save anybody. And Yu has become a giant
look at
cow,
Munchie.
but Sendy getting caught out. The barrier will buy time, but not enough. Season of Leaves caught out under turret finds Yu. The equalizer comes down. Goku will fall to the turret shot. Season of Leaves trades 2. Now it's Bounty on the run, and it's a 3 for 2, I believe, in favor of SYN Eternal Season.
Tao is roaming up here to maybe look for a kill onto top lane, but he is about half HP. Top lane also has flash, so this York roams up, but isn't really going to be able to do much. In fact, top lane is playing with a lot of confidence.
Yeah, this man knows Rumble. He's great. Munchie able to start up. The Grubs has one already. Will find the second. Means that SYN, they believe, got the feat of warfare. They are now 2 of the 3 steps towards the feat of monster slaying. I don't think we're going to see first turret. And Quacks, the story of this game for me is it's accelerated. We've been going on these 35, 40-minute slogs. It's been taking time to scale up. This is pedal to the metal. This is who can get the early lead and who can hold it.
Absolutely, and SYN are currently in the driver's seat of piloting this game forward. The 3 Grubs, not only is it great for denying away from the Yorick, that split push threat, going to be significantly less scary as the game goes on, but Munchie will also have a lot easier of a time on sides as Ulk.
Calamity getting caught out. The blast cone does not help. Sendy gets a kill. And that was just an out of position cow.
Yeah, mad cow disease is not contagious. Certainly have to kill the mad cows before they can get to anyone else. As that dragon going to be up. It is contagious. I slipped up on my words. It happens.
That's not what I was going to say. I was going to say we need less conversation about contagious diseases on this stream. Because I don't know if you watched Slayer and Shivy back last night, but they went on a segue about malaria. So,
oh, God. Who is the mosquito that was carrying malaria?
I forget who it was. My mouth was just hanging open as I watched these 2 talk about malaria. So anyway, maybe next week we'll have less conversation of infectious diseases. But this week, we've got game 3. These teams are separated by just 500 gold. And the second dragon spawns, it would secure feats of strength for SYN if they were able to claim it.
Yeah, SYN really want to try and get the scaling on their side because, like we said, they have the Yorick, they have the Senna, they have the Corki. There's a lot of importance on this, and U13 is not in the river. In fact, a lot of the Weber State members actually went for a back, so this allows SYN to gain control of this river. You can see Munchie is on the side, maybe looking for an angle, but we're really just focused on this top lane matchup. Top lane himself is taking a beating from the Maiden.
I'm watching the mini-map, and the engage comes
quickness.
in. The grand entrance and the quickness from Bounty, but the stun up is Sendy getting caught out by Munchie. Dawning Shadow across the top keeps everybody alive for so long. You falls. It's a double kill for Munchie. This man is on fire. Season finds the 3rd, and SYN will find their 2nd dragon of the game.
SYN are just beating Weber to the punch, setting up around these dragons, forcing Weber to walk into them, and taking the fight by the throat every time. Munchie is selecting a target with that leap strike, and the rest of SYN are there to follow. They will get the second dragon of the game. It is now a 4-0 Munchie Jax and a 3-1 season of Leaves Corky. This jungle mid duo from SYN are popping off here in game number 3.
And I gotta say, Quacks, even though this Corky isn't a champion we know Season is the Leaves for, and we had concerns he wasn't gonna feel comfortable, I'm gonna just say it, he's comfortable on this champion.
Oh, he definitely is.
How?
But how? Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen this guy play it at all this season, and this is not a playstyle that he's known for cultivating. It's really cool to see that growth in real time, especially against such a pronounced mid laner like Goku. Ascendi.
Already down at half health, gets caught up. Bounty knows when to cut the losses and run. Dapkin finds Sendy, and at 1-1 and 8, if we could get a stack count on that Senna, that would be brilliant.
That would be really, really helpful. Senna, I think it's like 8 stacks
42.
a minute or something.
Yeah,
that's not bad at all. That's pretty good. We'll have to see, though, how quickly it takes for him to get around that. I think the 70 to 80 mark is the one where a lot of people start to draw the line of, like, point of no return, where Senna really scales.
Level down, but taking the full engage.
What is happening?
Season, using the rockets against him, and Goku's just going to walk it down, find the shutdown. Meanwhile, top lane, the tier 1 has fallen. Munchie going in for the counter strike, going to walk away from that one. And Quacks, the answer to your question is Goku is taking this Weber State University team on his back and lugging them up a mountain to try and find them the series win here.
He really is the only one in the driver's seat for Weber State. He is their only hope at the current moment, as no one on the team is necessarily ahead of their counterpart. U13 in particular is really having a rough time on this Viego. Sendy as well is getting caught out in a lot of cases, like we saw on that top side. So it is up to this Silas. You have to think that Weber, with this Herald rather, spawning on the top side, they have the opportunity to open up the mid lane, get this Silas roaming around the map, and possibly give Goku an option to start looking for these picks alongside Bounty.
Possibly, but Munchie sees Batao doesn't have any deaths and says, I want to change that. Won't find a whole lot, and it does mean that top lane is open for that roaming pressure of Goku. Bounty and you both up there as well, looking to see if they can't find this tier 1. The bullet time comes through. Dapchin, you have earned the barrier, but not the flash. Gets a heal. We will see the trade of tier 1s bot for top as this game continues.
Yeah. Trading turrets, like you said, but Weber State getting that top turret means that they will have easy move onto the grubs if they want to try and claim them. Probably going to see a reset come through from the SYN members on that bot side to maybe look to contest it. Because like we said, it really is Weber just trying to break open mid, give this Silas the ability to roam around the map and, you know, continue accelerating that gold lead even further. If they can't do that, what hope is there? They're down 2 dragons. They get outscaled even without those drakes, I would say. They've got to look for some type of snowballing, and it is reliant on that mid lane being ahead.
It is Dapchin continuing to hold Fendi at bay here in the mid lane. Rift Herald has been started up by Munchie the Monster up there. Batao going to take full advantage to get this bot tier 1 turret, get some more gold in his team's pockets. Rift Herald for bot tier 1 turret doesn't feel great for Weber State, but it's something. They're going to stop the recall from top lane, steal the equalizer. It will both come down. And now the engage from Goku burning. But it's a shutdown for you as the Heartbreaker breaks the heart of top lane.
A really, really good pick there by Weber State, catching top lane on the recall. They not only get a kill, but they also burn his flash. The Rumble has to be careful from here on out around that side lane. This is especially good for Weber as well, as now Goku should be able to recall. You should be able to do the same. This dragon coming up in about 40 seconds. If they want to try and contest it, they will have numbers advantage around that part of the map. But Tao's teleport to top lane tells a different story here, Hummus. They might not actually be looking, and they might be comfortable just giving up soul point against their opponents.
I mean, we saw Batao do nothing but split push on that Mbessa. And, I mean, Yorick is a significantly better split-pushing champion than Ambessa. We see the Maiden being left behind to do some of the work. That tower at half health. Yes, Dragon's down, Yes, SYN has access to it, but they're going to lose a fortune if they keep leaving Batao unchecked. For right now, Rift Herald is going to get dropped in the mid lane. Batao and top lane are going to go at each other as Rift Herald is going to get crashed into the mid lane. And now the root up bounty on the run. Bullet time connects on to 4. Now it's Goku teleporting in on the flank.
Goku's deep in there.
Support. Goku will fall before anybody else reaches him. It's an easy pick in a mid-tier 1 turret for SYN.
It's just a massive overestimation there from Goku. He TPs onto the mid lane turret, but it already falls. The rest of Weber, like you said, Hummus, they can't reinforce Goku, so he ends up dying for essentially no reason. Weber managed to trade with a top lane tier 2, but that is nothing in comparison to Soul Point. The pressure now on Weber State to get that snowballing ahead, but what can they do to accelerate it?
Well, they're going to look for Daption first off, and Daption's just going to walk away. Use those special boots of swiftness thanks to the feats of strength and just walk. And Quacks, in game 2, we talked about the impact of being on Soul Point. SYN knows exactly where Weber State is going to be in 4.5 minutes. They know it's going to be around this dragon. They know they're not just going to get Soul for free, which means they also know the angle they need to take into the river, into the fight. And they proved multiple times in game number 2 that they can take that angle. And Batao getting caught in the middle of 3 will burn out Calamity there for a little bit of mad cow disease to make sure that the deal is sealed. That's an easy pick.
It's an easy pick, and top lane should be able to continue his escapades on that part of the map. Meanwhile, Weber are trying to look for a cross map.
The quickness, engage under tower, seasonally is flashing, is taking forever. And the turret doing all the work.
Oh, you didn't want one!
Just a double kill for Season before he falls, and Sendy gonna get caught out by the cow. Daption gets the kill, and everything is crumbling for Weber State.
Weber State are trying to match the pressure of SYN, but they just don't have the waves. They don't have the reinforcements. They don't have the resources in general to look for those. And SYN will take everything on the map. It's a 2-for-1 on the bot lane. It's a pick in the mid lane. It's turrets on the top lane. They don't even need a dragon to accelerate this game forward. That will just be a byproduct of them getting all of these advantages. Weber, they've got to try and find something. They've got to try and turn this game around. Goku is still in a good spot as the Silas. He still has so many good ultimates that he can steal, but they just haven't grouped up around him. They haven't given him the opportunity to snowball on this champion. Same goes for you. He hasn't been able to get those Heartbreaker resets, and it is hurting them in these fights because this mid jungle doesn't have the gold to compete with SYN.
And I agree. The window for Weber State is closing, and they can feel it. But the problem is they're getting desperate. They're trying to find these things, and every single fight they try and find that doesn't work puts them further behind. This is a great example. The headbutt of Bounty right into the waiting jaws of Munchie the Monster. He will be sated tonight. 5-0-4 on the Jacks. A third impressive performance. As the Equalizer comes down, trying to get Batao down before this turret falls. It will succeed. And as the Maiden falls as well, that top inhibitor turret will survive. Oh my god, you.
He's being hunted down, but he has the Heartbreaker. Likely going to escape, but wait, maybe not. Wow, how many? Wait, can we get a set of stat counter? Holy moly. God.
Okay, you will survive, not for lack of trying by Al Calamity. Daption just at 76, starting to hit that break point.
Yeah.
It was the slow coming off. I'm mid-tier 2 gonna fall off of that push. The quickness counter set by Al Calamity, who goes unbreakable. No, he doesn't. Never mind. Daption and Munchie. Goku, the one person who's arguably ahead on this team, getting picked down. Over the wall goes Munchie, and down goes Munchie. Has the healing. Nobody's fallen quite yet. Goku has to get out to the rest of the team. You gets the reset. This could be the fight.
Whoa, Season of Leaves.
Sendy finds the kill, and now Season of Leaves finds one, but it is not enough. You has found the reset. Weber State has found hope, and they press forward. Equalizer to slow things down by top lane. Daption on the run, but Batao gonna get the cage up. These health bars are low. That mid-tier 1 turret will fall, and that's a massive influx of gold for Weber State.
At the end of the day, Weber State managing to survive simply because Goku was able to find his target. It was looking really good for SYN, particularly because All Calamity was running out the timer on that quickness from Bounty. The Recon wasn't really able to get an engage, so it had to be on the Silas to start things up. And not only did he start things, Hummus, he finished things. It is the first one fight for Weber State in a long time here for game number 3. And right around the corner is that dragon. It'll be sold for SYN if they can secure it. But Tao is still pushing on that top side. He doesn't have TP. Don't tell me Weber are going to try and just say, let's give this up, we scale.
I really hope not.
They are.
Dragon is here, but Tao and you on the wrong side of the map means that it will be an uncontested Ocean Soul for SYN. And sometimes, Quack, sometimes you get gifts wrapped up in a pretty little bow with an Ocean on top. In 6 minutes, we will have Elder. Right now, we have Al Calamity flashing, Hex flashing, excuse me, over a wall. The quickness does land. And Vitao is being answered by top lane. Has not been able to find that turret that they gave up Soul for.
Yeah, I mean, now it feels like Weber are saying we can't win in the fights. We have to try and win off of split pushing. And that is a dangerous win con for you to play, especially because Batao has not had the same success that he did on that Mundo earlier in this series. This Yorick game has been very different from that. It is a rough angle here for Weber State. That door continues to close. And just to elicit and illuminate how difficult it is for Weber now, Ocean Soul on Jax, Corki, and Senna, it just feels impossible, Hummus. Like, now Baron is going to be up in 45 seconds. SYN are going to have way easier of a time skirmishing around it. Like, Weber need to find a creative way to win, and it's off of that split pushing, but that just doesn't feel viable with how behind Patao has been all game.
And my problem, Quacks, is we talked about how Weber State knew that their window for victory was closing, how they were starting to press and get, for lack of a better term, desperate, and it wasn't working. They found a desperation fight, and it did work, and then they stopped being desperate. They went, well, we won one team fight, clearly we're not going to win another. And now you're facing down Ocean Soul, you're facing down all the regeneration that gives, and it makes those squishy carries that much harder to pop in a situation where you weren't popping them very easily to begin with. Patao in top lane going at it yet again, this time in the bot lane. Patao is going to take a couple turret shots. Quite tanky, but not tanky enough in the face of a full flamethrower. Flash killing spree for top lane. And Quacks, if that's the hopes for Weber State University's win, they need to rethink it with a quickness.
They're not going to be able to rethink anything. Is now it is a numbers advantage for SYN. Top lane resets, has teleport to be able to join up with this team and make it a 4v5. Weber have no easy access into the pit.
Oh, Calamity, make sure they have no hard access either. The spin is good. The Dawning Shadow means that you will fall. Season of Leaves 7-4-7. Oh, Calamity, the headbutt pulverized, sending Sendy back towards the team like a gift. It's a double kill for Season of Leaves. Bounty on the run on the wrong side of the map. Weber State discombobulated, dismantled, and just quite dead.
Yeah, all the members falling here as Goku is quarterly split pushing on the bot side. Will be interrupted by a cow, but I mean, all Calamity isn't even here to, I think, try to skirmish this guy. He's just there to toy with him. He might be playing with his food, though, as Goku has the Unbreakable.
Yeah, did use it. Al Calamity's not up. Goku has taken like 5 turret shots. Unbreakable wears off. This turret is ramped up.
There's no way.
Goes golden. Al Calamity proving why he is one of the best supports in North America. Will fall, though. It was close. It was way closer than it had any right to be.
Yeah, it was. And also that arm guard was used by Goku to 1v1 the support. So that extra bit of safety for the Silas is removed. Even though All Calamity goes down, like, that's worth it in my book. You remove an extra safety layer from this Silas, who honestly is probably the last vestige of hope for Weber to even try and come back in this game. All Calamity still doing a good deed as the support. And now the rest of SYN going to make sure his death not in vain. They're pushing in mid. They're pushing in bot. They are tightly, slowly squeezing at Weber State, forcing them to respond to these pushes, but they just have bigger, badder, and more improved waves.
And, you know, this is a stark difference to game number 2. The waves were desynced. It took SYN, quite frankly, forever to close that game out. I think we went 2 Barons and an Elder to get there. And don't get me wrong, they got there, and that's what's important is the Nexus exploding. But this mid and bot wave, not quite synced up still. Sendy doing a great job on the wave clear. SYN needs to be careful. We see Bounty over the flank. The flash bullet time comes down, and it will melt Season to leave. Step too far forward. The shutdown reset for you. And now the press forward equalizer comes down on top of top lane. Munchie, the monster in the middle of everything, is a monster. Goes golden in the middle just so he doesn't fall. Top lane, El Calamity pressing forward. Top lane is unstoppable. SYN is inevitable. And the top lane finds a double kill. Munchie finds one. Top lane finds another. And SYN finds the ace and the victory in week 2 of the ACL.
Season of Leaves falls, but at SYN Eternal Season, they rise up. Weber State University get reverse swept here in game 3. Munchie the Monster. So many people singing the praises of this guy, and I didn't believe, if I'm being honest with you, Hummus. But I better start believing as this man put the team on his back in game 2, in game 3. In game 3, Zed and Jax were the champions that got the job done. If you aren't entertained, I don't know what to tell you.
I'm entertained, Quacks. I'm so glad to be on the salt mine for this one. And I mean, Munchie the Monster, they weren't traditional picks. They weren't things we're seeing a whole lot in the meta, but they were good and they were clean and they made a difference. And the rest of SYN worked with him, sacrificing their lives when they needed to make the plays happen. There were glimmers of hope for Weber State, but Quacks, I think conceding the Ocean Soul in game 3, no contest, was a major mistake that's going to get gone over in those VOD reviews.
I mean, realistically, I feel like they were probably under the impression that they had to, right? The conditions that they had for that mid lane fight were partially due to them having a turret. They don't have a turret in the jungle. That just should never be added into the game. I hope to God, as the jungler, that's never added into the game. They didn't have the conditions to fight. They thought that. They gave up the dragon, but it really was just them kind of doing a shoot yourself in the foot kind of deal. It was similar to the Baron contest that we saw in game number 2, where we said, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't, and they certainly were damned. Now they are damned to be Team D out of the Ionian division. This means that they will be facing other teams that are labeled the same. So it is going to be a bit harder for them, even if they make it out of that GSL, even if they are a team that manages to claw their way through all the other teams that finish with a similar record and have a similar story in their respective divisions. It's not going to be good once they get to playoffs. They will be facing off against harder competition. They will definitely be the underdogs going in to a lot of those skirmishes once the best of 5s roll around. So in the long term, it's definitely not good for Weber, even if they are going to be facing some easier opponents over the next few weeks.
And for SYN Eternal Season, they have booked their ticket next Monday to go up against Cupid Esports. Cupid, they got the better of SYN just
the rematch
last Tuesday. That was a 2-0. And Quacks, I don't know if you watched that series or if there was any way to figure it out, but if SYN shows up, we watched Cupid on this stream last night. We watched SYN tonight. I think that is going to be a banger of a matchup. And in all honesty, I don't think that goes 2-0. I think SYN is going to have a comeback 2 weeks later, and we'll see how that goes. They're fighting for B and C placing. Of course, Supernova, Team A, out of this group after they dropped a game to Weber State and they clean swept everything else.
Yeah, so it is going to be a rematch, like you said, and I am really interested to see how that actually goes, because I do think that, like you said, I don't expect it to be a 2-0, and I think that we saw the best version of SYN in this game, particularly Munchie and Season of Leaves. I thought were super impressive season, being able to kind of break that mold a little bit that we have about him as a player, which is that he loves those long range control mages, isn't really able to branch out of that. He managed to do just that on the Corki, matching Goku basically blow for blow in the laning phase. So massive credit over to him. Munchie as well, being able to just let loose on his more unorthodox picks. I think that this is a strategy, something that they should take going into next week when they play against Cupid, and I cannot wait to see the results of that series, Hummus. But for now, it is going to be the end of the broadcast here on the Salt Mine. The B stream will be taking a break until next week. Hummus, thank you so much for hopping on as my co-caster. Thank you, Ice Fire Ride behind the glass, for making sure everything runs smoothly. And thank you for watching the stream. And we will see you all next week. Have a great night.